The Big 8 Conference. They have a high-powered offense led by tailback Eric Bieniemy and a Houdini-like sophomore quarterback, Darian Hagan. This, coupled with a relentless defense, has the Buffalo faithful thinking of the Orange Bowl for the first time since 1977. Roses are the main topic of conversation in Champaign, Illinois. The Fighting Illini haven't won in Pasadena in 25 years. But quarterback Jeff George may be the man to change that, especially after this last-second winning touchdown pass against Southern California. So today, Big 10 battles Big 8. It's Illinois and Colorado coming up on CBS. From Boulder, Colorado, CBS Sports welcomes you to our season premiere of College Football 1989. You could scan campuses all across our land and not find a more majestic setting for a university than right here at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. Down below this breathtaking backdrop, today we'll witness a rugged showdown between 10th-ranked Illinois and the 8th-ranked Colorado Buffaloes. Today, out here in the West, there are two teams experiencing a new frontier, the nation's top 10. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and welcome to Boulder, Colorado. You know, during the 80s, we've seen Miami, Michigan, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Nebraska traditionally lodged among the nation's elite. Well, today, Illinois and Colorado are going to try to prove they belong in that group. These two have never met on the football field, but they're on the upswing right now, and the winner will show it deserves its lofty rating. You know, there's a festive feel around campus here at Colorado because it's the highest rated game in 17 years. So right now, let's take you up Colorado Avenue to 65-year-old Folsom Field, the home of the Buffaloes, where my colleague and partner in the booth, Pat Hayden, is standing by.
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Considering the fact that Troy Aikman and Steve Walsh and Tim Rosenbaugh left college football for the NFL this year, one of the key things coming into this season was who was going to emerge as some of the dominating passers in college football. Well, we have one of them with us today in Illinois quarterback Jeff George. Now, I think you measure a quarterback by his ability to bring his team from behind. He has done that repeatedly at Illinois, including 2 weeks ago against Southern Cal. Colorado knows they must get lots of pressure on him. They have two of the country's best outside linebackers in Alfred Williams and Canavis McGee. And, Jim, that is really the key. How much pressure can those guys get on Jeff George and keep him out of the end zone?
All right, Pat, it's a golden afternoon for football. And the Golden Buffalo marching band on the field as we near kickoff. As Pat mentioned, Colorado will be focused on stopping Jeff George today, but the Buffaloes are also focused on their own quarterback. It's a story of empathy and emotion. Let's bring in our sideline man again this year, John Dockery.
In the worst of days here at Colorado, the Buffaloes are a very talented team with a real shot at the Big 8 championship, but they are without their senior quarterback and leader, Salinesi, his locker empty, as he battles inoperable stomach cancer. Healthy 6 months ago, Anesi now sits in the stands in a private box, hoping that somehow chemotherapy will produce a miracle. His teammates are part of this battle also. They wear Sal embroidered on their sleeves and have dedicated the season to him, and each day after practice, they kneel and pray that Sal will be okay. But more than anything, this Colorado football team would like to give the gift of a Big 8 championship ring and a trip to the Orange Bowl to their ailing friend and teammate.
Our national anthem by the Colorado Marching Band. Well, the intrepid Salinesi is here today. He has been here at the two previous home games. He's in a private suite where he'll be watching his Buffaloes today battle against Illinois. Now, while Pat, John, and I will be calling the games, let's bring in the final member of our college football coverage team for 1989. He'll be manning a studio operation out of New York. And a hearty welcome to you, Greg Gumbel. Thank you, Jim Nance. I'm happy to be here, and we're happy you've joined us, everyone. Let's get you caught up to date on what's happening on this college football Saturday. We'll begin at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, where they are at halftime, and Army leads Syracuse. The Orangemen have dug themselves a hole. 3 turnovers and a block punt, which led to the Army touchdown, 7-0. Army leads it. Halftime at Morgantown, West Virginia, and the Mountaineers lead it 24-7. That now third quarter has just begun, and Major Harris is putting on a show there. 2 touchdown passes. He has also run for a touchdown. 24-7 West Virginia now into the third quarter. Temple and Penn State at Beaver Stadium. You recall all week long, Joe Paterno has been under the gun for his Stone Age offense, but look at the offense on the first play of the game. Tom Bill up top for 75 yards to David Daniels. That Bill to Daniels combination clicked again in the first half for a 38-yard score. Right now it's at halftime, and Penn State leads it 21-3. Fourth quarter, 12 minutes remaining in this game. Georgia Tech trailing Virginia 17-7. Georgia Tech has just fumbled inside the 10-yard line. And in the third quarter at Georgia, Coach Ray Goff looking for a victory in his debut with the Bulldogs. They lead Baylor by a score of 15-3. You know, this is a big anniversary year for several college football programs. Colorado, in the game upcoming, is celebrating its 100th season. So is Army, and so is Syracuse, who are playing today. Now, inside the Carrier Dome last night, Syracuse held its centennial dinner with 2,400 guests. Among the honorees, Ben Schwartzwalder, who coached the Orangemen for 25 years. Former Syracuse and National Football League star Jim Brown was there. Brown, the first great to wear number 44 out of the orange backfield. Also on hand, another Syracuse legend, Floyd Little. Little wore that 44 jersey in 3 All-America seasons from 1964 to 66. And coming up at halftime, live from Syracuse, we'll talk with Floyd Little and another Syracuse giant, Larry Zonka. Right now, we're moving closer to kickoff with Illinois and Colorado, and we'll be back after this message and a word from your local station.
Did you know that there's only one company that's willing to stand behind its 800 service and guarantee that your calls get through? We have a new AT&T 800 assurance policy which says the call must get through. If you're using AT&T's basic 800 service and all of a sudden there's a problem and you're not getting your calls, well, we can start to send those same calls to a regular telephone line right there in your office, and we can do that within an hour, guaranteed, get you back in service. We could probably do it quicker.
Over its life, a Motorcraft battery delivers enough energy to light up a small park, like Candlestick Park. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford. A Motorcraft spark plug has to fire 500 times a minute. Over its life, that's a spark 5 miles long. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
I used pressure-treated lumber, and I still have $800 in water damage. How come?
Even treated wood needs Thompson's Water Seal protection.
This patio was supposed to last for years. Now I have $1,200 in damage. Why?
Your concrete wasn't protected with Thompson's Water Seal. Thompson's penetrates into wood, brick, or concrete to form a barrier water can't get past, even when driven by 98-mile-per-hour winds.
Let it rain. This time I use Thompson's, a great defense against repair expense.
Thompson's, the first name in lasting protection.
This is CBS.
Paramount Pictures presents Michael Douglas in a story of mystery and murder, honor and corruption.
You guys got a counterfeiting war going on.
You are foreigners. It is illegal to carry a gun.
Loyalty and betrayal, east and west.
I thought we were working together.
Michael Douglas, Black Rain, rated R. Starts Friday, September 22nd at theaters everywhere.
Where should we push it to this time? Not that place again. Let's take it to budget transmission. But how far is it? It says here there's a budget transmission just up ahead. Well, let's go. It's gotta be better than that last place. We have a warranty good anywhere we go. Where to, Wilma? Just keep driving. With budget transmission, we're set for life.
Should college athletes be paid to play? Monday night at 10:35 on 7.
2 teams in the top 10 here in Boulder, Colorado, where there is an uncommon pregame ritual here at Folsom Field. John Dockery is on the sidelines with details. John?
Jim, you probably know some of the more famous live mascots around college football, like Bevo the Steer from Texas, like the LSU Tiger, like the Mules of Army. Well, now I'd like you to meet Ralphie, the buffalo from Colorado, 1,200 pounds, 4 years old, and she leads the Colorado team out onto the field at speeds of up to 20 to 25 miles an hour. Okay, Ralphie, it's all yours.
Buffaloes of Coach Bill McCartney, their highest ranking since 1977. 2-0 here early in the year with wins over Texas and Colorado State. And now John Mackovic leads the Fighting Illini of Illinois. 1-0 on the year with a win at the Coliseum over Southern Cal. 2 touchdowns in the final 6 minutes by Jeff George and touchdown passes. Mackovic, the coach of the year last year in the Big Ten. 2 teams on the upswing, ready for war from Folsom Field.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, it's the Fighting Illini versus the Buffaloes. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Coors. Brewery fresh, pure, and natural. It's a true American original. Visa, accepted at nearly 7 million places worldwide. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's running like the heartbeat of America.
Today is different because today a new line of import-inspired cars has come to your neighborhood. They're called Geo. They're sold and serviced by a dealer network that's larger than Honda, Toyota, and Nissan combined. And they're designed to give you years of carefree driving. Today, the 90s begin, and we invite you to get to know Geo. They're just around the corner at your Chevrolet Geo dealer.
How do you figure your financial future? How do you get an advantage? Look for an edge. Look for a company that can sharpen your opportunities in mutual funds, pensions, IRAs, employee benefit plans, insurance, and much more. Look for the Principal Edge from the Principal Financial Group, one of America's largest, helping people with the fine points of their financial future. The Principal. Look for the edge.
How much insulation do you have in your attic? 3 inches? 6 inches? Well, the Department of Energy recommends R38 for most American homes, which is equivalent to a foot of Owens Corning pink fiberglass. So grab a ruler and measure your attic insulation. Then get rolling, because 12 inches of pink fiberglass can help you get a foothold on your energy bills.
This memory is brought to you by Unical. Since 1951, we fueled more NASCAR winners than all other gasolines combined. And we put that same high performance and winning spirit into gasolines for your car.
What you say we take her for a spin, Murph?
Richard.
You could not ask for better conditions to watch a football game. We hope you'll enjoy sitting back and watching Illinois and Colorado today. Temperature in the mid-70s, hot and sunny, and believe it or not, it snowed here on Tuesday when temperatures were in the 30s, but it's heated up not only weather-wise, but at the coin toss just moments ago. You think this is not intense? This is before the game's even started, Pat.
And, Jimmy, these teams have never played one another. It's not like it's a grudge match or anything.
John Dockery has the story on what was going on down there, John.
Jimmy, it was like 2 heavyweight fighters squaring off in the ring, neither one wanting to back off. Both teams, full squads, out on the field, taunting one another, going head-to-head, neither one wanting to back actually got in between the two teams and forced them both off the field. What a moment. The intensity is here. Now back to you, Jim.
All right, John. It's viewed by each team as a breakthrough game. They feel that if they can win this game against, well, from Illinois' standpoint, 2 opening wins on the road against top 10 teams would certainly show they're a national power. And Colorado's ready to show it's certainly a team to contend with this year in the Big 8. Illinois won the toss and deferred. So Doug Higgins kicks for the Illini. And it goes out of bounds. By the way, the special teams from Colorado are something special. They have the 2 top kick returners in the nation.
And Jimmy, Bill McCartney, the head coach of Colorado, is excited about this game and this team as well, because he finally thinks in the Big 8 he has the talent to compete with the Nebraskas and the Oklahomas. No longer does he have to wait for get all the breaks in a game. He has the talent to compete for a Big 8 championships, and he's excited about this team.
And McCartney's in his 8th year as the coach of the Buffaloes, former defensive coordinator under Bo Schembechler at Michigan. Bill McCartney, a very innovative coach. He's made changes at one time just to make Colorado competitive. Going out of a passing offense to a wishbone, they now run a power I offense with a hot tailback by the name of Eric Bieniemy. Doug Higgins now will have to re-kick from his own 30. Flanked at the 5, M.J. Nelson and Mike Pritchard for the Buffaloes. Again, 1-2 in the nation in kick returns. This comes to Nelson at the 5. And it's a 19-yard return to the 24-yard line for Colorado. Now, we've mentioned a lot about Salinessi. Well, his spot has been taken over by a sophomore, Darian Hagan. He has rushed for over 100 yards in the first 2 games. In the backfield, Hagan is joined by Eric Kissick and Eric Bieniemy, 6th last year in the nation in rushing. Mike Pritchard on a wing. The wide receiver, a big play man, Jeff Campbell, who hails from Vail, Colorado. We're looking at number 3, Darian Hagan. An option wizard on 1st and 10 from the 25. Gibbs is to Bieniemy, and he'll lose a yard. Let's meet the front 7 from Illinois. Mo Gardner, the nose tackle. He's a junior, and he's a great player. Joined up front by Sean Streeter and Mel Agee. The linebackers in the inside, Derek Brownlow, a finalist last year for the Butkus Award. And underrated Steve Glasson on the other side. Brian Williams and Romero Bryce, the outside backers for the Illini. 2nd and 11 here for the Buffaloes. Hagan, he'll lose 3.
Jim, as well as Colorado runs the football, they have the first 2 games. The difference in their season in today's game is they're going to have to throw the ball well to win.
They set up as though he was going to have a little play-action pass there, but decided to run with it. Lost 3 yards as you meet the offensive line. Leuenberg at center, Garten and Muhlenberg, and then the tackles Coleman and Vanderpool. It's a big, strong offensive line for the Buffaloes. Their tight end, John Perrick, has caught 3 passes on the season. He's the top receiver for the Buffaloes. 3rd and long. Hagan going long. Campbell is out there. He has it at the 35. And out of bounds at the 5. Jeff Campbell. He averaged over 30 yards a reception last year. He's a man who is known as being dangerous on a reverse. Oddly enough, Campbell scored his first 5 career touchdowns on reverses, and you saw him pointing to the stands. He was pointing to the spiritual leader, Salinessi.
Now, Bill McCartney said that Darian Hagan had big play written all over him. He's done it running the ball in the first 2 games, and here with a big pass to Campbell. Now, quite honestly, on 3rd and 13, that should not happen. There should be a free safety back there to take that play away, but a well-thrown ball by Hagan, and Campbell made a nice catch.
Chris Green stopped him.
at the 6. First and goal, Bieniemy. Bieniemy will pick up a yard is all. Derek Brownlow, he was the leading tackler, Brownlow, last year in the Big Ten.
Eric Bieniemy had a big season, over 1,200 yards a year ago in the Big 8. But what his coaches, Jerry DiNardo, the offensive coordinator, says about him, he is the most intense guy I've seen inside the 5-yard line. I've never been around a guy who has a feel for getting the ball into the end zone more than Eric Bieniemy.
He has scored 4 touchdowns, Pat, in the first 2 games. And last week rushed for 156 yards against Colorado State. Second and goal from the 4. Here he is, Bieniemy, trying to scoot his way to the goal line. He'll end up a yard short. Bieniemy, a junior out of West Covina, California, played at Bishop Amat High School, which was your high school.
My old alma mater, yeah.
Penetrations this year by the Buffalo offense, 10 times inside the 20. They've scored every time.
Well, Bieniemy is one of those guys, Jim, we talk about him being so good down here. He rises to the level of the performance. The closer you to get to the goal line, the better he gets.
Third and goal. It's Bieniemy, and he's in for the touchdown. Bieniemy running behind that right side. Darren Muhlenberg and Mark Vanderpool. 5th touchdown of the year for Eric Bieniemy. Ken Culbertson for the extra point. 7-0 Buffaloes.
Nifty little move here by Bieniemy. Very powerful legs. Likes to run inside. You see the power I formation, which is their base formation. Gets a nice block inside by the fullback, and then bounces off a couple of guys for the score.
I like catching a ride. The fire in your eyes. Heading upstream. Girl of my dreams and cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brewery fresh, just like you like it. Tap an ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
Welcome to First Interstate Bank territory. The biggest bank territory there is. Because only First Interstate can help you with your banking needs in more cities and states than any other bank system. So whether you're in your hometown or traveling out of town, First Interstate Bank is always ready to help you. So come to First Interstate Bank. We go the extra mile for you.
Just off Route 19 in St. Petersburg is a place where you can learn to ski the Alps and shoot the rapids all in the same building. At Bill Jackson Sporting Goods, you can practice everything from a stem Christie to an Eskimo roll. But if you go there, remember, bring your imagination and your Visa card. Because Bill Jackson doesn't promise you Sun Moritz, and he doesn't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Division collisions. The Eagles and the Skins. The Vikings and the Bears. No love will be lost tomorrow.
This Illinois defense is primed to stop the run. The free safety is 4 yards off the line of scrimmage. That's Primus. The wide receiver over here, Campbell, is going to run the post pattern. A little surprising when it is 3rd and 13 that you don't back off in coverage more. Again, Colorado has not dropped back and thrown the ball much this year. That's a new wrinkle for them this game. And Campbell just ran right to the middle of the field where the free safety should have been. And then Eric Bieniemy, where he's so good inside the 5, just finds a little seam and gets in the end zone.
That was the longest pass play for Darian Hagan in his career. 73 yards to Campbell. Just 2 minutes and 59 seconds into the game, and Colorado is on the board. Ken Culbertson to kick away for Colorado. Mike Bellamy and Darren Boyer, the returners for the Illini, will go through the end zone. Illinois will bring it out to the 20. Jeff George, the much publicized quarterback of the Illini. He's the trigger man. He is joined in the backfield by senior Ken Thomas and junior Howard Griffith. Some good receivers on this team, including Stephen Williams and Mike Bellamy, the speedster. The offensive line, Kurt Lovelace. He is joined up front by Tim Simpson and Cam Pepper, a new starter on right guard. Pepper. So 1st and 10 from the 20 for the Illini. The pitch to Griffith. Griffith tripped up but still gains 5. David Gibbs and Canavis McGee manning that side for the Buffaloes. Howard Griffith, a former walk-on.
We said the key for Jeff George is protecting him, keeping Canavis McGee and Alfred Williams, the outside linebackers, off them. Well, they have changed their blocking scheme. They're going to use a lot of 2 tight ends or a fullback on both of those outside linebackers.
On 2nd and 4, Jeff Finke comes in at tight end. And George will throw for the first time. A short one, he drops it off to Griffith. He has the first down, and he's out of bounds at the 32. Again on the side of David Gibbs and Michael Jones. Jones, one of the co-captains on defense for Colorado.
You know, Jim, Jeff George is a lot of fun to watch. He's got a terrific little release, and when he throws short passes, he'll sometimes throw it sidearm as he does right there. But the ball gets out of his hand very quickly and into the receivers very quickly, and it makes it hard to react on the ball.
Again, to capsulize his career, he came out as Mr. Everything as far as a high school quarterback. 45 touchdown passes his senior year, and signed with Purdue, where he lasted 1 year. 1st and 10 for Illinois. Ken Thomas. Thomas with good yardage to the 36-yard line, maybe the 37. Tackled by Terry Johnson, an inside linebacker.
But this is a team that's not going to win running the football. They're going to win throwing the football. However, they run just enough to make you think about it. They've got some good blockers at the fullback position in Griffith and Bole Williams, and Williams there made the nice block for Ken Thomas.
They're alternating tight ends. Frank Hartley, the starter, and the backup Jeff Hinkie. Hinkie is here on this play on 2nd and 5. Bole Williams remains in the backfield with Thomas. Thomas again will only pick up a yard. Joel Steed and Michael Jones combined for Colorado on the tackle.
Joel Steed is a guy for Colorado, Jim, that they really need at nose tackle to have a big day, not only today but all season long. The last few years they've played with real small nose tackles, but Steed is 280 pounds, and your defense starts right with your nose tackle. You have to be stout down the middle, and Steed has given this defense that.
3rd down and 5. The nickelback Greg Thomas comes in, as does Chad Brown. 3rd receiver for the Illini is Sean Wax. George's pass goes to Wax, and he gets the foot down inside of the Colorado territory at the 45. A nice catch by Wax.
And again, the ball got out of George's hands so quickly. He doesn't waste the combo route. 2 receivers on the right, Williams on the outside, Wax on the inside. It's a delay, and then you read the man coverage, and he goes for the easy throw. But again, he wasn't open very long, but because he gets rid of the ball so quickly, you don't have to stay open too long.
You expect George will test this secondary today of the Buffaloes?
Well, they believe they can throw some deep in routes because the inside linebackers from Colorado don't get too deep on their drops.
Dave Silva comes in as a receiver for the Illini, along with the freshman running back Darren Boyer on 1st and 10. Setting up for a reverse, Stephen Williams didn't fool Colorado. Arthur Walker makes the tackle for a loss.
Arthur Walker did a great job of just staying there at home. He doesn't get the notoriety that he probably should because of the outside linebackers, but he forces a lot of sacks and big bad plays. There's Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator of Colorado, and he actually is keen on John Makovic, the head coach at Illinois, and sends in his substitution based on what Makovic sends in.
2nd and 12. Howard Griffith Good run as he hurdles and gets near the first down at the 34-yard line. He may have it. Tim James and Canavis McGee.
Well, it looked like Michael Jones, the inside linebacker from Colorado, ran right into the umpire there. But it's a passing formation, and they run a little inside trap. Split backs should be a passing formation, but the official, the umpire, got right in the way of Michael Jones, the linebacker, so he couldn't make the play on Griffith.
Griffith also just stepped right over, kind of hurdled his right tackle, Tony Laster. Griffith, a junior from Chicago, Illinois. Luke Petratus joins Griffith in the backfield now as Makovic continues to mix it up. 1st and 10. George's pass. Stephen Williams. And it's a pickup of 7 or 8 on the play. Dave McCluen on that side at the corner for the Buffaloes.
Well, that is a very long throw from one hash mark all the way on the other side. Take a look at the Colorado secondary that he's attacking now. They want to play it loose. McCluen's got most of the speed there in the corner. Gibbs played very conservatively here early in the game. Don't want to be beaten deeply. Bruce Young, the strong safety, a real physical player. Tim James has to be the free safety. Take away the big plays on the post patterns.
Bruce Young is 25 years old. After high school, Young decided to not right off the bat attend college. In fact, worked with his father in a family-owned ceramic tile business. Bruce Young, number 7. And he mans the way in that secondary. Jeff George early is 3 for 3 passing, 33 yards.
You know, it's so important for a quarterback on the road to get confidence early. Certainly Jeff George looks like he has that. You know, we talked to George yesterday and asked him, hey, are you having fun playing college football? Because he's gone through so many problems and moves from college to college. And he says, yeah, it's finally fun again. I'm putting it all behind me, and I'm enjoying my season here at Illinois, as it should be.
That freshman year at Purdue, he threw 4 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and Leon Burnett, the coach, was fired, so George decided he wanted to go elsewhere. They've just warned the crowd here, Pat.
Well, they're making too much noise as they drive in the end zone. The crowd is also throwing oranges on the field, symbolic of the Orange Bowl. Thank goodness they're not eligible for the Gator Bowl. It's early in the year.
They're going to add a little time on the clock, Pat. The warning has been sent out here early. But more about Jeff George. When he decided to transfer, he held a press conference, said initially he was going to Miami. Actually went down, visited with Jimmy Johnson for a while, although did not enroll with the Hurricanes. Then he changed his mind again and signed up with Illinois.
And because you cannot transfer from one Big Ten school to the other and receive a scholarship, he's a non-scholarship player. His father is paying his way for Jeff to play at Illinois, but Jeff says, hey, I'm happy.
He's just a junior. He's one of the guys that you feel like you've seen him for about 10 years.
Or heard about him. Yeah, you've heard about him since '85 coming out of high school.
The delay here is they're waiting to reset the clock. They're going to put 5 extra seconds is all on the game clock. Now they're going to go ahead and get play underway.
Well, Jim, early we said the key was for Colorado to put pressure on Jeff George. Thus far in this drive, they have not been able to do that.
2 tight ends on 2nd down and 1. Hartley and Finke. Griffith alone back. Play action. George. Pass intended for Finke, and they're going to say he trapped it at the 10. Incomplete.
Well, Finke is a tight end for Illinois. Illinois uses the tight end position as well as anybody in college football. 7 receptions out of that position against Southern Cal. And Finke is a basketball player as well, has a great ability of coming down and bouncing off people. He kind of bounces into daylight and just finds a little dead hole in there, and George tries to find him.
Well, we're just underway, actually midway through the first quarter at Folsom Field. Colorado leading 7-0. And Illinois, 10th play of the drive, 3rd and 1. The pitch to Griffith. And he leaps for the first down near the 20.
Griffith has really evolved as a player for the Illini. Last year he was primarily a receiver, a very good one out of the backfield. but he's got a much more of a fullback's mentality this year. He carries himself by a fullback. Look at him. He looks like a fullback, and he's getting those 2 and 3 tough yards that the Illini are going to need if they're going to compete well in the Big Ten.
Well, Griffith and Thomas, the starters, are aware, too. There are some sparkling freshman backs that are enrolled at Illinois that are just behind them as well. Aaron Boyer, Wagner Lester, and Steve Fagan. We may see all three today. 1st and 10. George going for it to Bellamy at the goal line, and a flag flies. It'll go against Dave McCluen.
Mike Bellamy is their big play receiver. And, you know, they set that play up nicely. Most of the other routes have been to the outside to the wide receivers. That time was the post pattern and the interference by McCluen.
That pass intended for Mike Bellamy. He's a speed man. 2 years ago, he had the fastest time in the country in the 60-yard dash.
You know, he said yesterday, if you're open, Jeff George will get you the ball. This ball's right on the money, and it really would have been a touchdown, but for the interference by McCluen. So when you think about it, it really wasn't a bad play by McCluen to cause the interference there.
There's a look at Mike Bellamy, senior from Chicago.
Take another look at it. You're going to see the push, middle of the screen there. The push before the ball gets there. He bumps him. Yeah. He bumps him right as the ball is coming right at the numbers of Bellamy. Nice call there by the back judge.
Split crew today from the Big 8 and the Big 10. 1st and goal for Illinois from the 6. Colorado scored on its opening drive. And now the Illini is trying to duplicate that. Griffith. Run out by Tim James.
Well, Bill McCartney, the head coach of Colorado, said he didn't think these guys were very good running the ball when they got inside the 10-yard line. And sometimes passing teams have a tough time, Jim, punching the ball into the end zone. So this is the kind of situation where the Colorado defense thinks they can make something happen.
And to back up that point, we saw the graphic about inside the 20 penetrations for the Colorado offense. Well, defensively, through the first 2 games, 5 teams have come inside the 20, and no one has scored a touchdown against this D. Inside of the 20 on a penetration. 2nd and goal from the 5. George has a man open. It's Hartley. Incomplete. It hit the ground. Frank Hartley.
And Alfred Williams prevented a touchdown there because Hartley was coming wide open. He's the outside linebacker, number 94 for Colorado, and he was right in Jeff George's face and made him alter the throw because Hartley was open.
Hartley is the starting tight end who had to sit out over a year to recover from a major knee injury. Now 3rd and goal from the 5. George looks back. He says he cannot. He is not able.
And the back judge or the side judge just threw a flag.
George was trying to lobby to bring it back to the huddle and say, hey, I can't get my signals out. They're right in the enclosed end here of the stadium.
I've always thought it's a mistake for a quarterback to try to back out when you get down to the end zone, Jim, because you're just going to incite the crowd even more. But that was an awfully quick flag that the side judge threw. And they call a delay of game against Illinois.
The down clock ran out. So the Illini is backed up to the 10. 3rd and goal.
And that's really a surprise because George asked for some help, didn't get it from the referee. Referee again is telling him to get to the line of scrimmage.
5 seconds on the down clock, and George says, I can't hear. He pleads for a third time and then has to utilize a timeout. Third and goal, and Illinois cannot even get a play off.
If ground clearance is important in your next pickup, watch this visual test. 2 full-size half-ton 4x4s, Chevy and Ford, try to drive over this protected camera cage. First, the Chevy. Plenty of clearance. But the Ford. Cameras don't lie. When it comes to half-ton ground clearance, nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
The heartbeat of America. Today's truck Chevrolet.
What's in a name? The Kemper name means the security of solid insurance protection for your life, home, business, and auto, even reinsurance protection. But Kemper's more than insurance. It's Kemper financial products, like mutual funds, annuities, and money market funds, working to bring you better tomorrows, insurance and investments. Ask for them by name. Kemper.
I like hanging around, getting down, walking the dog, doing the town. I like everything I got right here. Rainbows and cold Coors beer. It takes a part of this country as cold and clean as the Rockies to brew a beer as pure and natural as Coors. Brew refresh, just like you like it. Tap an ice cold Coors with a friend of yours. A Rocky Mountain legend, an American original.
Sunday, a major sneak preview. There'll be major laughs and major fun.
Nice kids. You ever whack them?
Major Dad after 60 Minutes Sunday.
John Dockery along with Jim Nance and Pat Hayden, and Jeff George just went to the sidelines to get instructions. He asked for quiet twice from the referee. The referee said no and gave him the fist to go ahead. Twice he did that, and I believe he was justified because down here you couldn't hear a thing. That's why he got the penalty, because the referee didn't give it to him. The second time he simply called a timeout. Now back to you, Pat and Jim.
No, John, I agree. I have never seen that penalty called. Usually the referee will give the quarterback at least 1 or 2 tries at that to try to quiet the crowd.
Third and goal from the 10. George getting away from pressure. Throwing incomplete, but another flag.
We're going to call the second interference on Dave McClellan. A good inside pressure there, Jim, forced Jeff George out of the pocket and is really disrupting their timing. And what Illinois likes to do is to go into the shotgun, Jim, but because of the crowd noise down here, they can't use their shotgun formation.
Had to take it under center, and it is another interference call against McClellan. Pass intended for Stephen Williams.
And Laster knocked down Alfred Williams. Again, George is trying to throw the ball in a place where if his receiver can't catch it, it's not going to get picked off. But the crowd noise is a big effect here.
Pass interference, automatic first down.
As they like to use the shotgun formation.
So a new set of downs for Jeff George and company. First and goal from the 2. Talk about a long possession. Colorado scoring the first time it had the football. Now Illinois trying to match it. 2 interference calls against the Buffalo secondary. Victor Boley-Williams and Howard Griffith in the backfield. George again makes a plea.
Now, I don't know why they did it that time and not before. That time, the referee, Larry Fisher, who's a Big 8 referee, gave George his wish. Again, I think he's telling him right now that he's not going to allow him to do it again. Just get the ball snapped.
Illinois has brought in 3 tight ends. Finke, Hartley, and Dan Donovan. And you're looking at Michael Jones trying to get his home crowd here to settle down for a moment.
He was at some point, actually, they warned the crowd and then penalized the home team. And as I said, it's the first time I've ever seen a visiting team being penalized for that.
Back to the line again. First and goal.
You're not going to use the 25-second clock.
Down clock is shut off.
You're giving him as much time as he wants, but he doesn't want him back in the huddle.
Pat, it's only getting louder every time he gets under center.
As I said, I always think it's a mistake for a quarterback to back out. Maybe you go on a quick count.
I've never seen anything like this.
Well, sooner or later, they're going to have to penalize the Colorado team or charge them a timeout.
Again, the officials allow Illinois to rehuddle. How many times have you seen it where the down clock is shut off?
I haven't seen that either, actually. But I think, again, the referee is trying to say, don't get back in the huddle. We're not going to penalize you again for the 25-second clock running out, but get the ball snapped. And it's kind of surprising, too, Jim, because Illinois plays in a lot of big and loud stadiums in the Big Ten. This will not be as loud as it gets for Illinois this year, believe me.
Another shift in the lineup. 6 complaints to the referee for Jeff George. That's a new stat. That's got to be that's a new NCAA record.
Wow. I think he leads the NCAA, although my wife's a close second, I'm sure.
Victor Williams now comes back in from the sideline. Camino Bell had been in briefly. We're in Boulder, Colorado at Folsom Field. 10th ranked Illinois challenging 8th ranked Colorado. Capacity crowd on hand for these two teams that are expected to contend this year in their respective conferences. Again, in the Big 8, it's a year where Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are ineligible for the Orange Bowl. Nonetheless, I believe had they been anyway, Colorado would still be viewed as one of the favorites along with Nebraska. And John Makovic's Illinois team, one of the Big Ten early favorites.
You know, Jim, Bill McCartney has mentioned that he really does not like split officiating crews. We have one here today, half of them from the Big 8, the other half from the Big 10. And he thinks there just isn't as much coordination when you have a split crew. I happen to agree with him. I think you're seeing evidence of it here today.
Again, Pat, first and goal from the 2. Howard Griffith twists his way in for the touchdown. They were patient, Pat. They waited, and they got what they wanted.
The longest 7-minute drive in the history of college football. John Makovic said yesterday we're going to have to score more than 14 points to win this game. He believes it's going to be a high-scoring game. So anytime he gets down inside the 10-yard line, he wants to make sure that he comes away with 7.
This Illinois team was shut out the first 54 minutes against USC before scoring those 2 touchdowns late to beat the Trojans. Doug Higgins will attempt the extra point. Jason Verduzco on the hold. The kick is good, and we are tied. Howard Griffith scoring the touchdown.
He is 227 pounds and has some very large and strong legs. You can see it just bounces off a couple of guys and punches it in for the score.
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road. Today, with service to 175 countries,
You've been wanting United, Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Also for Mackenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair Mackenzie?
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
We recognize how important every 800 caller is to your business. We recognize that. And if for some reason there's a disruption in that service, we know you can't afford to be out of business. We have a new AT&T 800 assurance policy. If you're not getting 800 calls for any reason, if it's an equipment failure, if it's a problem with the network, it doesn't matter to us. What matters to us is getting your calls to you. We guarantee we'll put you back in service to a working telephone line within an hour. That's what the assurance policy does for you.
I've made up my mind. I'm going to do it. Why shouldn't I? I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every morning. So before I lose another hair, I'm going to the doctor. I know doctors have treatment programs that are proven to work. More guys are trying them every day. I'm not bad now, but I wouldn't mind looking better.
Your doctor can really do something about hair loss. So see your doctor or call this toll-free number.
You can chalk that up as one of the strangest drives of the year. 13 plays, 6 delays, 80 yards, 4 minutes, 48 seconds. It seemed like an hour, but it's a 2-yard touchdown run by Griffith. Griffith 5 carries for 26 yards on that drive. And the Illini ties it up. Higgins to kick. Again, M.J. Nelson. Mike Pritchard. Return man, dangerous for the Buffaloes, but they will not get the chance. Right now, let's get an update. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Jim, at Lincoln, Nebraska, it's a quarterback shootout. Here's a second touchdown run of the day by Jerry Godowski of the Cornhuskers. Scott Mitchell has thrown 2 TD passes for Utah. A missed extra point is the difference. 14-13 Huskers in the second quarter. Let's go back to Boulder.
All right, Greg. Of course, last week, Nebraska struggled in the first half with Northern Illinois. That game was tied 17-all at half before the Cornhuskers blew it open in the second half. 1st and 10 for Colorado from its 20. This is J.J. Flannigan, backup tailback, running up the middle for 5 yards. And we join John Dockery down on the sidelines. John?
Jim, it got pretty confusing with all that noise and other problems. I talked to one of the officials, and he simply said this. The referee has taken 2 timeouts of his own. If he has to go for another one, he will then charge it to Colorado if there is a noise problem. Now back to you.
All right, John, thanks for clearing that up for us. They'll charge Colorado timeouts if they run out of them. Then they'll assess them a penalty if they have to.
2nd and 5 for the Buffaloes. The backup backs in there. Flannigan along with George Hemingway. Hagan to throw. Overthrows his intended target, Hemingway. And in the vicinity of Quentin Parker, the strong safety for the Illini.
Seems like it was a couple of weeks ago since Colorado scored. Again, we have seen 2 drop-back passes by Darian Hagan, and for those of you who haven't seen Colorado before, this is unusual. He is not a drop-back thrower, but they've installed this week for this Illinois game. They thought they could catch him by surprise, come up with some big plays. They did with the 1 to Campbell.
3rd down and 5 for Hagan. Watch out for him. He's broken 2 plays this year for over 70 yards. Running plays, that is, for Hagan. Here he goes. He has the first just past the 30-yard line. We've got another update on that Nebraska game. Back to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Jim, the action is fast and furious at Lincoln. Scott Mitchell back into his end zone to throw, but instead of a teammate, he finds Mike Kroll, who intercepts at the 7, returns it for the touchdown. The extra point is good, 21-13. Cornhuskers in the lead. Let's go back to Jim and Pat.
So 2 touchdowns for Nebraska in a matter of seconds, and an 8-point lead in that one. We're tied with 6:07 left in the first quarter. 1st and 10, Colorado from its 30. J.J. Flannigan Flannigan picks up 9, maybe 10. He's near the first down. J.J. Flannigan on his 21st birthday today.
You know, I have a lot of respect for J.J. Flannigan. He's in his senior year, and he knows he's a second-team player. He plays behind Eric Bieniemy, but he's never let it get him down. He's come back into camp this year in the best shape that he's ever been, and he's played very well in their first 3 ball games. And I admire guys like that who don't quit when they don't get a chance to play that much.
He's taken out on this play, and Bieniemy comes in on 2nd and a yard. Bieniemy with the fullback Hemingway. Hagan going to throw. Again, he's going long. Pritchard inside of the 30. Mike Pritchard.
And that's a terrific call by Jerry DiNardo, although there's a flag down on 2nd and short. So they're going to bring it back. And what Colorado's plan is, Jim, is because Illinois commits 9 guys to the run, they're going to keep throwing that post pattern until Primus, the free safety, drops back to take it away.
Looking at Mike Pritchard.
Holding.
Wing back.
Again, this is the free safety, Jim. Look how close he is to the line of scrimmage. He's really about 4 yards away. And there's all this area here behind him to throw the post pattern. That's what Colorado is taking advantage of. Matter of fact, Bill McCartney said, if we don't beat the free safety Primus a couple times today, we don't deserve to win.
Well, they've already gone deep for 73 yards to Jeff Campbell. That penalty wipes out a big gain to Mike Pritchard. And it's 2nd and 11. O.C. Oliver in for the Buffaloes. Bieniemy hit in the backfield. Hit in the backfield by Brian Williams and dropped for a loss.
What a nice play by Brian Williams. He's a guy the coaches felt really should have started last year. But he wanted to play defensive tackle. They felt he should be a linebacker. He finally did play it this year. And he's got the strength to play over a tight end, the kind of speed to make plays like this. Just outran a block, went right around a block, and made a stop on Bieniemy. And believe me, Bieniemy's a tough guy to bring down in the open field.
This is an Illinois defense that allowed USC in that vaunted Trojan running game only 79 yards on 39 attempts. 3rd and 13. Hagan throwing near the line of scrimmage. He has his man, Pritchard, inside of the 50, and a Buffalo first down.
You know, when you look at Darian Hagan, he looks like a 40-yard gain waiting to happen, doesn't he?
Very explosive.
There's just something about his hero growing up was Jamel Holloway, the wishbone quarterback formerly at Oklahoma. And he may well turn out to be a better wishbone runner and certainly a better thrower than Jamel was.
Jamel, as you mentioned, was his hero. He first saw Holloway play when Hagan was in the 7th grade. It was a Pop Warner game they both played in. Holloway was in the 9th grade. 1st and 10. Here's a pass from Bieniemy. M.J. Nelson's down there. He'll score the touchdown for Colorado. However, a flag is down.
The way the linemen from Colorado are arguing about it, certainly looks like it's against Colorado. This is a much different Colorado attack than we have seen the last couple of weeks. They felt they had to open it up because it's a strong Illinois defense. And they come up with a lot of big plays in the passing game thus far today.
This will be the 2nd one apparently called back on this drive. Let's see.
Again, Jim, here's why, again, I don't like to see these mixed crews. There's just too many conferences. It seems to take too long. Again, you got guys from the Big 8. You got officials from the Big 10. And they're just not used to working with one another. And Bill McCartney has lobbied long and hard against split crews.
That was a play that certainly worked. I mean, M.J. Nelson looked like he just jumped in off the sideline. He was all by himself.
What made it more unusual, too, Jim, is Bieniemy, who is a right-handed thrower, rolled to his left to make the throw.
Bieniemy throwing in a touchdown pass that apparently will be called back, although the officials continue to hold a summit.
Well, Jim, until I think Illinois changes their defensive scheme and commits some more guys deep to the post pattern, I think you're going to continue to see Colorado try to run those kind of patterns deep. Let's take another look right here. Again, here is Primus, who's really a run support guy. Again, you're going to see him come up, and there's just a huge area in there. Primus makes the play, and the corner came up too full, both the corner and the free safety.
Pat, after a 90-second delay, the officials are now saying it's a touchdown for Colorado.
That's embarrassing. And again, I think it's a real testament to the fact that we cannot have split crews in college football.
I have never seen worse communication, and we're only in the first quarter.
Well, I suspect these guys have never worked together. It's a tough job as it is, but you like to be able to work as a team.
So the touchdown, Bieniemy to M.J. Nelson, 48 yards it stands.
Jim, they originally thought it was holding, but some strong lobbying by the offensive lineman of Colorado, I think, got him over the hump.
So that just shouldn't be allowed. It's either a penalty or it's not. Make the call. You throw a flag, make the call. Ken Culbertson, extra point, 14-7 Buffaloes. Let's take another look.
M.J. Nelson, the man who catches this ball, Coach McCarty says is an incredibly valuable player in this offense because he can run out of the backfield and run some reverses for him. He can line up at tailback, and he has the speed to line up as a wide receiver and make plays just like this.
We'll be back with more CFA college football in just a moment.
Out of his inventive mind came the imagination that changed the game of football. The single and double wing formations, the reverse play, all were his creations. He was among the first coaches to utilize the forward pass as a major weapon. He was Glenn Scobie Warner. And today, the leagues in which many youngsters learn the game of football bear his name, the Pop Warner Football Leagues. This is Brent Musburger recalling the great traditions of college football.
There's something magical in the air. Call it a growing momentum. It's the glow of a hot summer night, the tension of a final exam, a desire to be the best, the institutions of the Big 8 Conference.
A gorgeous sight here in Boulder, Colorado, just below the Rocky Mountain Range and the Continental Divide. And we're still in the first quarter. Still in the first quarter. We're moving in. This might take 1 hour to play the first quarter.
Can't be. Well, again, I think both coaches were right. They felt they had to come out and change their offensive game plans and score points to win this game, which kind of surprised me because you're seeing two pretty good defensive teams. But the imagination of the Colorado offense has been impressive. And the throwing of Jeff George for Illinois has been impressive as well.
Ken Culbertson to kick away for the Buffaloes. Kicks it deep, 5 yards deep. Bellamy will down it on a knee. Once again, John Dockery with a report on the officials. Doc?
You know, Jim, it gets pretty complicated down here, but from what I can gather, and it's unofficial, number 77, Bill Coleman, the offensive lineman for Colorado, drove his man 2 yards downfield. He fell to the ground, got up, didn't attempt to get back into play, so he wasn't illegally downfield because he didn't try to get back into play. That's why they picked the flag back up. Now back to you, Jim.
We'll have to get Doc a referee's jersey here soon. Striped jersey for Doc.
Get him on for next week. We'll be in South Bend for Michigan State and Notre Dame. 1st and 10, Illinois from its 20. Play action fake. George looking long, will throw short to the tight end Hartley. He is pummeled by Michael Jones, incomplete.
That ball was thrown a little bit behind Hartley because the pressure of Joel Steed, the nose tackle from Colorado.
Michael Jones graduated in August with a degree in sociology, now taking graduate courses. The leading tackler on this Colorado defense last year, and actually had an interview last year with the Secret Service about joining their ranks, but they wanted him to give up this year of football. They wanted to start right away. 2nd and 10. Griffith for 4. Leonard Renfro, a freshman from Detroit, in on the tackle for Colorado.
Renfro, you mentioned the freshman. They're thinking big things for him. A true freshman, not a redshirt. Great foot speed. Again, he goes 275 pounds, and it's remarkable these days, the guys with that kind of size who can move down the line of scrimmage like Leonard Renfro can.
Pat, he was not only an exceptional lineman in high school, but he was first in the state of Michigan in punting his senior year. 45-yard average.
I bet you got a lot of whip on the ball.
3rd and 6. George complete to Bieniemy near the first down at the 30. Coverage by David Gibbs.
Mike Bieniemy was saying yesterday, he said, I really like to go over the middle because receivers have that reputation of getting alligator arms when they go over the middle, not stretching out. But Bieniemy says, hey, I'm a tough receiver. I can catch the ball over the middle. And when I'm open, I know that Jeff George will get me the ball.
He says that George just has an uncanny ability to scan the whole field, even with a severe rush, and still find the open man. Great confidence between George and his receivers. 1st and 10. Sean Wax comes in as a receiver, along with Bieniemy. Pass to Wax near the 40. He lunges forward, trying to get up another first down. 7 first downs already here in the opening quarter for Illinois. You like the way Jeff George throws it? Sometimes it looks very sidearm.
Yeah, but he doesn't waste any motion. A lot of quarterbacks will pat the ball or drop the ball down to the waist. Everybody talks about George's release. It's right up top, and the ball gets out of his hand quickly. And what that means is the defensive back doesn't have as much time to react on the ball. That's what you mean by a quick release.
Wax just short of picking up the first down. 2nd and 1 for Illinois. Movement on the right side. Cam Pepper, just a late replacement this week as the starter on the right side. Dave Postmus, the starter there against USC, dropped off the team in midweek. And Pepper, before that, a backup right tackle, moved over.
Well, he was playing a lot played over half the game against Southern Cal, and they thought he played well.
Dead ball. White.
Pepper, a junior from Victoria, Texas, spent his summer working on an oil rig. And there's a good look at John Mankovic in his 2nd season as the coach at Illinois. He's also the athletic director. Took this team last year to the All-American Bowl. And along the way, picking up Coach of the Year honors in the Big Ten. 2nd down and 6. 3 receiver set for Jeff George. Howard Griffith fumbles. Ball is loose. And it's recovered by Illinois for a first down. I believe Griffith already had picked up the first down before he lost the football.
And Schneider, the left tackle, number 68, did a nice job of recovering it. You got to be impressed with the way Griffith has run the ball thus far in the first half. He can really change directions for a big guy and just pulls his legs right through tacklers. And then Michael Jones, number 59, stripped the ball from him, but a hustling Craig Schneider, the big left tackle, all 290 pounds of him, almost knocked all the air out of the ball in the recovery.
That was a classic strip, pickpocket for the aspiring Secret Service agent. So another first down for Illinois. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first quarter. See a little bit of the heat waves coming off this new turf at Folsom Field. We're now at 80 degrees. George Over the head and intercepted by Gibbs. Over the head of Williams. Gibbs has it. And he's got help in front. Inside of the 40, David Gibbs, a junior from Auburn, Alabama, with the interception of Jeff George.
And Jim, you have to be happy for David Gibbs. He's the man who had 2 pass interference penalties called against him. But this was actually the pattern that Illinois felt they could really have success on. The deep in route. And Williams ran the crossing route, but what happened, the inside linebackers, Jones and Johnson, got too deep, so the ball had to be thrown too high, and Gibbs was right there in the zone defense to make the play.
David Gibbs' father, Alex, is the offensive line coach for the Los Angeles Raiders. 1st and 10 for Colorado. Play action fake to Flannigan, and a sack for Mo Gardner. Mo Gardner drops Hagan back at the 45-yard line.
When you talk to coaches about nose tackle Mo Gardner, and they say he has a real sense of the game, a sense of where he is, a feel for the game, and he's right in the middle of your screen, number 95. You don't hear coaches talk about nose tackles that way, but he'll spin out of blocks, he'll fight through guys and fight through double teams to make plays just like that.
Gardner pinpointed last year's win against Indiana as the one event that really gelled this team, brought the team together. A slow start last year, eventually leading to a bowl game. Flannigan with running room. Look out, he may go. Touchdown. Celebrate your 21st birthday. J.J. Flannigan, 45 yards for the touchdown. Third touchdown of the opening quarter for Colorado. Culbertson again is good on the extra point.
You have to really admire J.J. Flannigan here on this run. A lot of guys, when they get out on a pitch play like this, will try to dance around in the hole. He did not waste any time. He's got remarkable speed, picked up an early block by his offensive guard, then followed Kissick, the fullback, who picked up a nice block, and then just kicked it right into the end zone. Watch the right side of the offensive line. Muhlenberg and Vanderpool blocked down here. And then the fullback's going to kick out for him on the pitch play as J.J. Flannigan uses 4.3 speed. Lou Tepper, the defensive coordinator at Illinois, who was here and actually recruited J.J. Flannigan here, said, I am really scared of this guy breaking a big one on us.
Tepper says he's the fastest player he has ever timed. Let's go down to John Dockery.
Jim, if you noticed on that last play, Marlon Primus had problems too because he's totally confused. Lou Tepper spent about 5 minutes with him, telling him to back off a little bit and play more of the pass. That time, he was tentative coming up to cover on the run, and he missed the tackle and the touchdown for Colorado. Now back to you, Jim.
That's the free safety position that, Pat, you've been chronicling is so important here in this game today.
Well, they made the adjustment, and they beat him with the touchdown run this time.
Culbertson with a big boot. Clear through the end zone.
Again, Jim, I think it's worth noting with Colorado ahead by 14, 21-7 over Illinois, that Jeff George is one of the best come-from-behind quarterbacks in college football. Did it 4 times a year ago, or 3 times a year ago, and then once this year against Southern Cal.
There was a flag down on the return, on the kick. And a big one against Colorado, offsetting against Illinois. So they'll keep it at the 20. Utah has kicked a field goal to make the difference 5. Surprisingly competitive today against Nebraska.
Major Harris having a big day, I think, Jim, for West Virginia.
He's, from what we hear, 17 for 20 in that game and 3 touchdown passes. And that's in the rain today at West Virginia. 5 Final minute of the first quarter. Darren Boyer, a freshman from Canada. 9 yards on his first rush. Boyer is a player that Illinois is very excited about. He's from Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, a redshirt freshman.
A look at the right guard here, or the left guard in a counter trade at 69, Timpson leading the way. And what Boyer does is do a nice job of just following that block. And Schneider, number 68, the left tackle, who pulled around as well. A lot of guys will hug those guys too close and not be able to cut off them. But Boyer did a nice job of keeping his distance so he could make the play.
Boyer said he didn't even know where the Big Ten was until he made his recruiting visit to Illinois. 2nd and 1. Thomas for the first down, wrestled down by Alfred Williams, but it's a first down for the Illini on the final play, perhaps, of the first quarter. I don't know if I recall any first quarter that's taken 1 hour to play.
And when you think you have an option team, in particular running team like Colorado really is, you wouldn't expect it to be that long.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Colorado 21, Illinois 7. College football on CBS Sports will return after this message and a word from your local station.
There are a number of ways to get a safer ride, like always fasten your seat belt.
Seat belt?
And never ride on worn shocks and struts. They can allow your tires to lose contact with the road, resulting in a loss of control and braking. Get a new set of Monroe Gasmatic shocks and struts. They help your vehicle hold the road.
Hey, I feel safer already.
So do I.
For a smoother, safer ride, America rides Monroe.
Just off Route 19 in St. Petersburg is a place where you can learn to ski the Alps and shoot the rapids all in the same building. At Bill Jackson Sporting Goods, you can practice everything from a stem Christie to an Eskimo roll. But if you go there, remember, bring your imagination and your Visa card. Because Bill Jackson doesn't promise you Sun Moritz, and he doesn't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
It's Ross. Your bid came in this morning. How soon can you come down for a face-to-face?
Hi, Philip. I need you here for some planning meetings. Let me know when you're
Business is tough. The least your airline can do is make sure that business travel isn't. That's why United offers the most service across the U.S. and the Pacific. United, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
Hey, Phil. I sure hope you haven't unpacked your bags yet, pal.
This is CBS. It's the men's fall suit and sport coat sale at Joslin's. Palm Beach. Mark Alexander. Evan Picone. Oscar De La Renta. Save 20 to 25% on the entire stock of men's fall suits and sport coats. Now at Joslin's.
Make the move to your Lincoln Mercury dealer's official factory clearance with 2.9 annual percentage rate financing or up to $1,500 cash back on Cougar LS or Mercury Tracer, $1,000 cash back on Mercury Sable and Topaz, or get $1,000 cash back only on Mercury Grand Marquis. The official factory clearance. Make your move today. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Join us Tuesday night live from the Denver Zoo.
We welcome you back to a Rocky Mountain high. A little dusting of snow out there after a storm came through here on Tuesday. Flagstaff Mountain and this campus framed against it. What a beautiful campus it is with this unique architecture. Some 2.5 hours away due northwest. Steamboat Springs, Vail about 2 hours away. In the first quarter, Colorado with 2 long pass plays. One to Campbell, setting up a score. Another one from Bieniemy, a touchdown pass to M.J. Nelson. 1st and 10, Illinois, starting the second quarter. Chased out by Renfro, and a pass over the head of Stephen Williams. Dave McCluen in on the coverage.
Like Stephen Williams lost that ball in the sun. He was signaling to the coach that he couldn't see it because he mistimed his jump. Ordinarily, that's his kind of play. He adjusts the ball real well. Young Makovic was a quarterback at Wake Forest. And that's Leonard Renfro limping off, Jim, and that hurts him because they also have Oakland Salavia, the defensive tackle for Colorado, has also been playing on a sore ankle as well.
Salavia is in there now, replacing Renfro on 2nd and 10. George quickly to Bellamy. He drops it. He likes to go across the middle, but this time with no one really breathing down him, he couldn't make the catch.
A lot of times there's a lot of arms being thrown around in front of a receiver, even though it looks like a drop, of course, which it was. A lot of times maybe the ball gets tipped or a linebacker gets a hand right in the way and you can't see it as it's coming right in front of you.
Jeff George, after a hot start, is 2 of his last 8. And 1 interception.
But you know, Jim, I don't think he lets that kind of thing bother him. He's the kind of guy that just hangs in there, finds a way to win.
He knows he'll just keep on throwing. McGee and Williams give him pressure, but George completes it to Griffith. What a run by Griffith. He has the first down near midfield. McLuhan and Young make the tackle, but Griffith, a remarkable job of breaking away and picking up the first down.
Well, does he have some strong legs? Again, is developing into a real all-around fullback. But again, George throws this one off his back foot, but still the ball gets there quickly. A lot of heat there by Williams, 94. Griffith does a nice job of coming back. Boy, you just have to get him real low if you're going to bring him down.
He broke away from Chad Brown, freshman linebacker, Pasadena, California. 1st and 10. George across the middle. It's batted down. Batted down by Joel Steed.
Well, that's a nice play by a nose tackle. You get double teamed. You can't make the sack. You can't get in the quarterback's face. But what do? You get those big old paws up, and you make a play that way. Steed has done a nice job of rushing the passer, stuffing runs, and there he tipped that ball.
Steed this spring won the Hale Irwin Award. No, he doesn't have the low handicap on this team. It's the award given to the top sophomore in spring practice. And Hale Irwin was a former All-Big 8 cornerback here back in the 60s. 2-time U.S. Open champ, Hale Irwin, great football player. 2nd and 10. Thomas on the carry, smothered at the 50. Terry Johnson and Joel Steed. A lot of people aren't aware Hale Irwin was such a fine football player. In fact, played a little quarterback at one time before moving to the secondary. All Big 8. And there's the man who won the award, named after Hale Irwin in the spring. He's had a great start to this season, Joel Steed. 3rd down and 9. Here comes Williams. Williams gets him back at the 33-yard line. Alfred Williams.
Alfred Williams has really grown as a player, and Jeff George is down and hurt.
Illinois is not deep at quarterback. George is backed up by 2 freshmen. Alfred Williams, one of the top outside linebackers in the country, and he made the play here, Pat.
And he takes an inside rush, 94. He's in a 3-point stance, fakes outside, comes inside, beats Schneider, the tackle, and then chases George down. Like he probably fell funny, Jim. He didn't really get hit that hard. Again, terrific pressure by Williams. We were talking about Williams developing as a player. 2 years ago, he was primarily a sack specialist, came in 3rd downs. A year ago, he learned to play the run a lot better. and now he's the complete player, as coaches say.
George has the padding on his left knee up, but able to walk off under his own power. The punter for Illinois is Brian Minkhausen, a former quarterback, in fact, at Illinois, was the starter in 1986.
And Jim, Colorado feels they can block a punt today.
Minkhausen had one blocked against USC that was converted into a touchdown by the Trojans. Look out. Very nearly blocked. Campbell at the 21. Gets past the first wave, but then is down at the 33. There is a flag down.
I think it might have been a late hit, the official called.
So a clipping call against Colorado will back the Buffaloes inside of their own 20, but they lead by 2 touchdowns.
Hey, when it comes to protecting your investment, isn't it worth paying for the real thing? Because only Armor All works like Armor All.
Dear Dad, you once told me that courage is putting your fear aside and doing your job. Here in the Army, I've learned what that really means.
All that you can be. Benefits on life in the Army.
Welcome to Lumina Sedan. It has been designed with care for you and yours.
Listen to the heartbeat.
With rear doors that open wide, plenty of room for the family to enjoy. And even Scotchgard fabric protector comes standard. The family Lumina Sedan. When it comes to new ideas, nobody's winning like.
Heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
The Allstate anti-lock brake discount is a great opportunity to save money. Provided your car has anti-lock brakes. The anti-lock brake discount. Don't pass it up.
How about Colorado? Is this impressive and consistent? 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. And notice the number of plays. Not that many to get it in the end zone. 6, 7, and then 2 plays to get it in the end zone. 21-7. Buffaloes own the football for the 4th time today.
And Jim, what's been a little bit surprising has been the success of their passing game. They come up with the big plays in the passing game. It was something they hadn't done really in the first 2 ball games. And again, that will be the difference of this Colorado team, whether they'll compete for the Big 8 crown or not. How well Darian Hagan continues to develop as a passer. Really haven't seen him on the corner of the defense as an option quarterback, but he is very dangerous there. He's had 2 runs over 70 yards this season already.
Back to second play from scrimmage as a starter. He ran 75 yards, the longest non-scoring run in Colorado history. Here he goes. Boy, he is quick. In fact, had Brian Williams not tackled him, number 90, he may have been going 80 yards with that one. Let's go back down to John Dockery.
Jim, you can see Jeff George along the sidelines a couple of yards away from me. They taped his left knee. You can see they taped the brace back on, and he seems to be moving around fairly well, probably just a sprain, and I expect we'll see Jeff George back in the game.
All right, Doc, he is backed up by Jeff Kinney, the son of the famous Nebraska star. Second down, short. Here's the pitch to Bieniemy, a little bit behind him, but Bieniemy holds on and gets near the 30.
Here is really the frustration when you play against a quarterback like Hagan. Even when you get close, he's going to pitch the ball. Brian Williams, number 90, thought he had him for a moment, pitched the ball to Bieniemy, and then Henry Jones, number 18, made a terrific stop of Bieniemy. It's a nice play by Jones. His coaches feel that he's the most underrated corner in the Big Ten.
2nd and 7. Hagan stop for a loss. Steve Glasson was shutting up down that side, and Hagan was unable to go anywhere. How do you practice, Pat, when you're Illinois? I know the Illini had 2 weeks to get ready for Colorado, but how do you practice against a guy you know you're going to face with the quickness of a Hagan?
Well, it's really difficult to duplicate the kind of speed that you're going to see in a game like this with a quarterback like Hagan. They had a walk-on freshman who tried to simulate a wishbone high school quarterback, but couldn't really simulate the speed that they see today.
3rd and 8. And Eric Bieniemy will be about 2 yards short for the first down. Colorado will have to punt for the first time today. Mel Agee on the tackle for Illinois. We mentioned earlier that Colorado excels in special teams, and the punter, Tom Ruin, is no exception. Eric Bieniemy running off the field, having thrown a touchdown and run for another here already. Ruin's average early in the year over 47 yards a punt. Stephen Williams, the return man. Ruin handles the low snap, kicks it off the side of his foot, but what a break. Out of bounds at the 12-yard line. That's a 53-yard punt. Jeff George is coming back out.
It's the right beer now.
But not now.
It's the right beer now.
Definitely not now.
Coors Light, it's the right beer now.
And absolutely, positively not now. No way.
Hey, Dave, let me give you a ride home. I know when your car gets banged up, you want more than sympathy. You want somebody to fix your car. I'm State Farm Agent Bob Miller. When you have a claim, I'm on the phone right away to our claim center.
We don't have waiting lines. We have appointments. You leave with a repair authorization. If the body shop has any questions, have them call us.
We take care of our policyholders. If you have an accident, you just couldn't be with a better company.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is a machine designed to make travel easier. And these are its most important parts. Responsive, reliable, hard-working. The men and women of American Airlines, dedicated professionals, committed to personal service. Flight after flight after flight.
Tomorrow, National Football League doubleheader coming your way. Most of you early will see Philadelphia at Washington. Others will see Dallas, Atlanta, and the Saints at Green Bay. Second game of the doubleheader. Most will see Minnesota at Chicago. That's a key NFC Central match. Detroit at the Giants, 49ers at Tampa Bay, and Phoenix at Seattle. It all gets started at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that Chicago team. I think they had the best draft in all of football. 9 rookies made that Bear team.
First down and 10 for the Illini from their 12-yard line. Howard Griffith. Very little running room on the short side of the field. Maybe picks up 3. Michael Jones and Canavis McGee force him out.
And Canavis McGee is a guy we said at the beginning of the game was going to have to put some pressure on Jeff George. He and Williams have done a nice job of that. He is number 96 right there in the middle of your screen. Came to Colorado, wanted to wear number 80. It was his high school number. They gave it to him, but apparently it was too small. It was a former punter's jersey, so 96 was the only jersey they had that fit him.
Second down and 7 for Illinois. George to Wax. First down, Illinois. George kind of limping around, but he completes his first pass after being wounded. Pat, would you ever believe this statistic coming in? Illinois, the passing team, Colorado, the run specialist?
Absolutely not. Most of the passing yardage, obviously, on the big plays, the post patterns, before Illinois made the adjustment and moved their free safety back in coverage.
You can see the clock in the background. 10:20 left in the second quarter. Colorado leading 21-7. George. Complete, but a loss on the play. Arthur Walker over there. And giving Howard Griffith no running room at all. Walker, Williams, and McGee. We've talked about these three. They're all from the city of Houston, as well as wingback O.C. Oliver. So a Houston connection on this Colorado team.
A real stout front seven. You mentioned those three guys, the two outside linebackers, and the inside guys, Jones and Johnson, very capable guys as well. If you're going to beat this Colorado team, I think you're going to have to beat them throwing the football.
Three receivers in. 2nd and 12. Dino Pollock, the extra receiver for Jeff George. The delay give to Griffith. Gets back the yardage he lost, and another 2. Stopped by Chad Brown.
Griffith gains a lot of yards, Jim, after he gets hit, doesn't he? I mean, he just drags guys through, runs through some tackles. That time he was hit and then carried a couple of guys, broke a couple of tackles for 4 extra yards.
I know he was disappointed with his numbers after the USC game. 12 carries for only 16 yards. And you saw he already is up to 45 here in the first half, 5 yards a carry.
They say he's got a different kind of attitude. He's a real fullback this year, not just a pass receiver.
Taking over for the great one, Keith Jones, who graduated. 3rd down. Walker sacks him. Arthur Walker sacks Jeff George inside of the 15. 2nd sack for the Buffaloes.
Top of the screen, Arthur Walker right here. He's going to make the play, chase George around. Here's the outside linebacker, McGee, making the play as well. He beats number 73, Pepper. Now, Pepper's on the double team. It's the back who misses him, fights through a couple of guys, and then makes the play. I think George did a smart thing. He knew he was going to get sacked, didn't want to get hurt, and went down.
Minkhausen standing on the goal line. Oh, that was nearly blocked. Jeff Campbell from his 44. And swarmed under at the 47-yard line. 43-yard kick as Colorado broke through. And, Pat, you mentioned they felt like they could block a kick. Ronnie Bradford, a freshman from Commerce City, Colorado. I don't know how he missed it. It must have gone right between his arms.
And give him some credit, too, Jim, because he went low enough that he didn't have the penalty called.
Another flag on the field.
In another conference. Well, I tell you, if these guys were lawyers, you could really get billed, couldn't you?
Pat, you would know.
So I'm charging you $150 an hour right now.
Just to be standing here.
And watch how close number 13 Bradford comes. And again, this is a heads-up play. He doesn't run right into the kicker. He jumps out low, stays low, so he's not going to interfere. A little Lawrence Olivier job there done by Minkhausen, trying to draw the penalty, but he didn't touch him.
Dead ball, personal foul, flag, 1st and 25.
So Bill McCartney's team will be backed up 15 yards. How about Bill McCartney as an innovator, making the changes here when it wasn't working out early in his career at Colorado?
Well, Jim, it's a good point. I think in 8 years he's been here, and good coaches will adapt to their personnel and change. He started out trying to throw the ball his first 3 years unsuccessfully, then moved to the wishbone as he recruited better athletes and was more successful, and now he's running the power I and thinks he can compete for the championship.
1st and 25, Flannigan. Hit by Derek Brownlow at the line. No gain. Brownlow and Henry Jones read that play. Pat, you mentioned the change. First 3 year for McCartney. His first 3 years, he won 7 games out of 33. And since that time, since he switched to the wishbone in 1985, Colorado's 30-19.
Well, he was asked to do 3 things when he came. Play within the rules, and although he's had some problems here, he has played within the rules. To graduate a lot of players, he's graduated over 70% of his players a year ago, and to compete at a high level, he's done that.
And they're only rising their level of competition. 2nd and 26. Hagan gets away from Williams. Pass is caught by M.J. Nelson. Chris Green on the coverage. Still will be about 10 yards short of the first down.
Darian Hagan has beaten 2 teams early year running the ball with his feet. Today, he is leading this Illinois team with his right arm. And again, M.J. Nelson does a nice job of just moving around, finding that soft spot, and staying open and making the catch.
Hagan is 3 for 4 for 113 yards. He had rushed for over 100 yards against both Texas and Colorado State. First Colorado quarterback ever do that back-to-back. 3rd down, Hagan must throw again. Mike Pritchard has it. He tries to stay on his feet, but will come up short of the first. Steve Glasson wouldn't let him get away for Illinois.
Chimera Kissick, the fullback, again made a real nice block that gave Hagan the chance to get rid of that ball. They didn't pick up the first down, but had it not been for Kissick's block, Hagan would have never gotten that ball off. He has done a remarkable job, Kissick has this year, of throwing some key blocks on both runs and passes.
Offensive co-captain Kissick, along with the left tackle Bill Coleman. So Tom Ruin will punt. Remember last time, a low snap. This one's perfect. Ruin, real high kick, destined for the end zone. And Illinois will bring it out to the 20. 5:17 left in the 2nd quarter. Colorado leading over Illinois by 2 touchdowns.
Performance. For some people, it's more than a passion. It's a way of life. Well, for all those people for whom good enough just isn't good enough, there's Speed Stick Antiperspirant. Nothing is wider. Nothing glides on drier. Nothing gives you all-day protection in a bigger way. All-day performance that's hard to beat. If you're going to give 110%, your antiperspirant should give 110% too. Speed Stick, the wide stick.
By minute.
Chevy S10 4-wheel drive pickups take on the 4-wheel drive Ford Ranger. Look, to shift from 4-wheel drive high to freewheeling 2-wheel drive, Ford Ranger actually makes you stop and back up 10 feet. While Chevy S10 InstaTrack lets you shift on the fly without slowing down, so you can go forward with Chevy or backward with Ford. Nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Today's truck is Chevrolet.
This is a recipe for love. New Cheese Lovers Plus. Blend an abundance of 3 alluring cheeses. Add 2 irresistible toppings, your choice. And what you get is 1 provocative pizza. Get all this love for only $8.99. Or get twice the affection for just $4 more. New Cheese Lovers Plus from Pizza Hut. The name says it all.
The Big Ten power of Michigan State tries to topple Lou Holtz and the defending national champion Irish of Notre Dame next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Illinois' goal this year, to go to the Rose Bowl. And as Mike Bellamy told us yesterday, there are reminders everywhere.
We have pictures, we have pictures all over the wall. There's things over the mirror saying, what have you done today to go to the Rose Bowl? When we come out the locker room, we see these pictures and pictures of the Rose Bowl. Coach Macklick used to quiz us on, the attendance, how far the Rose Bowl was from Champaign, things like that, who played in the first Rose Bowl.
They're thinking Rose Bowl. In fact, Makovic, Pat, even took them by the Rose Bowl a couple of weeks ago. On their trip to play USC, he drove the team by to show them the Rose Bowl, show them their ultimate goal for the season. Straight back on 1st and 10. George with good protection. Victor Bolé Williams on the reception, but only for 5 yards. Alfred Williams makes the tackle after a 5-yard gain. He took a few other side trips on that visit out to Southern California 2 weeks ago, Pat.
Yeah, they had a completely different attitude on that trip. They visited the Rose Bowl, as you mentioned. They also stayed over after the game and visited Disneyland. They all got their pictures taken with Minnie and Mickey. But John Makovic, had a different approach to that game. That game was originally supposed to be played in Moscow. And so he wanted to have kind of a bowl type of atmosphere, and that's why he did that.
So they beat USC, and they said, we're going to Disneyland. And they didn't even have a camera in their face. Darren Boyer on second down. Boy, this freshman looks good. First down for Illinois. Picks up about 8 yards. Darren Boyer. Bruce Young made the tackle. How about the experience of this offensive line for Illinois, Pat?
Watch these guys right in here, Jim. The left side is their experienced side of their offensive line, and they like to run left, particularly in critical situations. There's a bunch of big bodies, 3 big bodies right there out in front of Boyer, the freshman. And again, he follows that block of Schneider, who makes the block on the linebacker Johnson, and then dances for a nice gain. But they run left during crunch time.
1st and 10. Ole Williams, the lone back. Looking for Finke. He has the backup tight end. Finke with a little second effort there, getting near the first down yardage, maybe a yard short.
There's a first catch by a tight end today, although George has thrown the ball to Finke a couple times. A week ago, they caught 7. 2 weeks ago when they played Southern Cal. And this is something I think most college teams don't defend well, is the tight end. Inside linebackers are just so concerned about deep drops and outside receivers. There's a lot of room for a tight end to work inside.
Well, we're looking at all the scores. Don't forget, we've got scores and highlights and information. We're going to take you back to Greg Gumbel. Studio 45 in New York coming up at halftime. They're going to measure for the first down.
Well, 4 minutes remaining, just under 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Again, Illinois down by 14, but this is Jeff George's kind of time. When he gets close to 2 minutes or left and a half or down in the end of the game, he is at his best. He kind of says, hey, that's my time. As a matter of fact, I think they score like 42% of the time when they're in their hurry-up offense.
Even a couple of players on Makovic's team that can attest to Jeff George in the early years. Mo Gardner and Derek Brownlow specifically. They faced George in high school back in Indiana, and George led his team to a last-second victory over Gardner and Brownlow. Close measurement, but coming up a shade short.
See, the referees, all the officials even wear different shoes. That shows you. No coordination. Yeah, guys, no stripes on that one. He's all black there. The other one's got white stripes on him.
You want uniformity.
That's right. I don't want no more split crews.
Or split shoes. 2nd and 1. Boyer and Griffith in the backfield. Give is to Griffith, and he favors that left side, Pat, and picks up the first down.
Yeah, right over the left guard, Simpson, and the left tackle, Schneider, number 68. Schneider's done a great job at left tackle right there, 68. He's got a natural advantage. He is a left-handed guy, and when he gets down in his stance on the left-hand side, it's very natural for him to be in a left-handed stance, whereas most right-handed guys playing left tackle have a hard time making that subtle adjustment.
Schneider, the only senior starter on the offensive line for Illinois. St. Charles, Missouri. 1st and 10. George rolling, throwing to Griffith through his hands. And we go down to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, you and Pat and I have already talked about the way the Colorado team has supported their cancer-stricken quarterback, Salinesi. Well, it's not just Colorado, it's also Illinois. The Illini came to town bearing gifts this week. Autographed footballs, signed banners, cards, an outpouring of good feeling. Obviously, Illinois realizes also that Sal's battle transcends any football game.
Well said, Doc.
Wonderful gesture on the part of Illinois. 2nd and 10. The receivers are Sean Wax and Dave Silva. Backups. Delay, give, Griffith, and Michael Jones was there to meet him head on. How about Michael Jones?
Well, he does a nice job of finding a little area in there, and he gets some help because the down linemen are keeping people off him, and that allows Jones, who's got some good foot speed, to move around and find the ball carrier. But it's guys like Steed and Salavia and Walker up front that allow him to make those kind of tackles.
You see that Illinois has already surpassed its rushing total, but still not big numbers at all. 3rd and 13. Pass into double coverage, knocked away by Chad Brown, the freshman.
Chad Brown is a guy who came in specifically to play in this game, number 34 for Colorado, because he's a great pass coverage guy and a blitzer. And when you're playing against Jeff George, you need those kinds of inside plays from the linebacker position.
Chad Brown's a guy who could tell Illinois all about the Rose Bowl. He's from Pasadena, California. So Minkhausen comes in again. Remember, Colorado's been close to blocking a kick, shifting around. It's Bradford on the upper portion of your screen. Picked off this time. High and short kick by Minkhausen. Campbell with the fair catch at the 29-yard line. Gorgeous views. We've been here for 3 days and nothing but spectacular blue skies, gorgeous weather. It is now time to present this week's Toyota Leadership Award to team players who have been singled out by their school's coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performance in the areas of team contributions, academics, and citizenship. We'll show you the winners after this play on 1st and 10. Bieniemy cutting to the outside, and then stopped after a yard gain by Quentin Parker. Today's game team leadership winners. We've seen him a few times make big plays. Mike Jones from Colorado. Mike again graduated just last month with a degree in sociology. Mike is from San Diego, California. For Illinois, Kurt Lovelace. Kurt is a commerce business administration major from Quincy, Illinois. Toyota donates a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school general scholarship fund. 2nd and 8. Bieniemy up the middle. Hit short of the first down. Hit by Chris Green. Notre Dame and Michigan, 1 against 2. That's moved to the 2nd quarter without a score.
But Jim, the game's been a bit of a surprise to me thus far in that Colorado has really been the team that's come up with the big plays in the throwing game. Some big plays. The one to Jeff Campbell in the 1st quarter got him in scoring position. They've been a big play team running the football, but today Hagan has been the difference throwing the ball.
And Bieniemy threw that touchdown pass to even add to the aerial attack. 3rd and 3. Hagan on the keep, and he'll be very close to the first down at the 40. Garrett Brownlow made the tackle.
You don't realize how strong Darian Hagan is. He's a very compact guy. He's 5'10", 185 pounds, and he's got the kind of speed that when he gets to the corner, he's going to score on you, but he's strong enough and has thick enough legs that he can get you 3 tough yards, as he did right there, and pick up first downs, keep the chains moving. Very much like Jamel Holloway.
And he's only a sophomore, Darian Hagan. Just inside of 1 minute left in the 2nd quarter. Again, Greg Gumbel coming up at halftime. Here's a reverse. Back to Hagan. Looking for M.J. Nelson. He has it. More razzle-dazzle by the Buffaloes. 47 yards.
It's kind of fun, isn't it? He's got a pretty good shot arm, too. That ball was in the air a long ways.
Hagan is now 5 for 6 for 168 yards. He set up the Buffaloes again just before the half.
changed about the game. Today, the best in the business fly. And the airline that takes over 300 college and pro teams to their chosen field is United. Come fly the friendly skies.
If you like having your life well-defined.
It's the right beer now.
If you think that beer made in the Rockies sounds better than beer made in cities.
It's the right beer now.
Because when the game's this close, you don't want to drop the ball. So send in the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors Light. Yeah, it's the right beer now.
Get ready. Now there's a giveaway game with no muss or fuss, no scratch-off mess, and no questions to answer. Just get your Kmart newspaper circular, watch CBS, and you could win a TV, a dream vacation, or a new Plymouth Voyager instantly. The CBS Kmart Get Ready giveaway starts tomorrow. We're ready!
Get ready for the CBS Premiere Preview. With host Angela Lansbury and a special sneak preview of Major Dad. It all follows 60 Minutes, Sunday at 8.
John Dockery back at the game, and watch Jones, the safety, get suckered in on this reverse. It's a fake reverse. Campbell comes around. Both Primus and Jones don't have any idea. Nelson, the bottom of the screen, does a deep post and continues across the field. Neither safety is deep the way they should be. They were being set up on the plays before this. The ball comes back. It's thrown deep by Hagan. There's Nelson across the field. Big gainer for Colorado. Back to you, Pat Hayden and Jim Nance.
Well, the Bucks have unloaded the bag as far as wizardry here in the first half. 46 seconds before the intermission. 1st and 10 from the 14. Hagan looking pass all the way, and he's picked off by Glasson. Picked off at the 5, and the Illini saves a score.
Well, that was a nice catch by Glasson. Glasson, the inside linebacker, is kind of a nice counterpoint to Derek Brownlow. Glasson, a quiet guy, goes about his business. At the end of the game, he always comes up with 15 tackles or so, but you don't notice it. But got Dak back deep in his area, his drop area, and then made a terrific one-handed catch. Left to the referee, he's right here. No, I'm sorry, he's right here. This is him. He's going to drop back and make the nice interception right there.
Hagan took his time on the count at the line of scrimmage, Pat.
And he locked into the receiver there, and Glasson did a great job, Jim, of just following the eyes of Hagan to make the play.
Like Hagan was unsure, a little audible perhaps, at the line. 39 seconds left in the half. Illinois will run it with Griffith darting past the 10. Colorado and Illinois each with 2 timeouts left, but John Mankovic looks content to run it down.
Well, I don't think he's content with the score, though, Jim, and I think what he's going to have to do when he goes in at halftime is make some more adjustments defensively. And you can't entirely blame Primus, the free safety, because that's what he is told to do, stay up close. But they're going to have to change their defensive alignment to come back and win in the second half.
There will not be another play here in the first half. 3 touchdowns by Colorado. Greg Gumbel will be coming up with all the scores, highlights, and information, plus a story on the anniversary at Syracuse. That's the end of the first half. 21-7 the score. Greg Gumbel will be back with the Prudential College Football Report.
In this package is over 40 years of experience in overseas shipping and access to more air routes worldwide. Because Flying Tigers has changed its stripes and merged with Federal Express to form the largest all-cargo airline in the world.
By signing up now in the Army's delayed entry program, any skill training I choose is mine when I graduate. Guaranteed.
Be all that you can be. Getting it on life in the Army.
Grandma, isn't this fun?
I want my Serta.
Why do people want a Serta? The answer is the exclusive Serta Surface. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way. So get a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Serta.
Now get the Serta you want during the biggest and best Serta sale ever. You'll find giant savings on Serta mattresses, including Perfect Sleeper, now at all participating retailers.
This is CBS.
Not 3, not 2, but 1. One-coat Hammerite means you don't need a primer or an undercoat, and there's no unsightly rust. Sorry, Marvin. Just one generous coat stops rust on gates, garden furniture, swings, bikes, cars, oil rigs, and gives a tough hammered finish. Hammerite comes in 14, 14, 14! Thank you, Marvin. Attractive colors, plus white. Remember, no primer, no undercoat, no rust. That's one-coat Hammerite with glass guards. All right!
This is a recipe for love. New Cheese Lovers Plus. Blend an abundance of 3 alluring cheeses and 2 irresistible toppings, your choice. And what you get is 1 provocative pizza. Get all this love for only $8.99. Or get twice the affection for just $4 more. New Cheese Lovers Plus from Pizza Hut. The name says it all.
BF Goodrich TA tires perform like great athletic shoes. Grab. Dig. Because BF Goodrich TA tires are low and wide. BF Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes for your car.
Should college athletes be paid to play? Monday night at 10:35 on 7.
CBS Sports presents the Prudential College Football Report, sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Welcome back to New York, everyone. For the Prudential College Football Report, I'm Greg Gumbel. The game you are watching now, it is Colorado leading Illinois. Let's get you caught up with what else is happening around the country. Number 1 against number 2 at Ann Arbor, Notre Dame and Michigan. 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter, and Notre Dame is driven to the Michigan 3-yard line. That's where they stand now. There is rain in Ann Arbor, and it's expected to rain all day. Obviously, it's taken its toll on the offense. Next week here on CBS, Notre Dame will take on the Michigan State Spartans. You'll see that game next Saturday. Number 3, Miami, hosting California and trailing 3-0. Remember, Miami trailed Wisconsin early on last week. Robbie Keane converted a 45-yard field goal for the Golden Bears after a Cal interception of quarterback Craig Erickson. Utah and Nebraska are now in the third quarter. Nebraska leads it by a score of 28-16. Ken Clark, 104 yards rushing on the day. This 14-yard scamper set up his own 1-yard touchdown run, and they're in the third quarter now. Nebraska leads it 28-16. Tulsa at Arkansas, they're at halftime. Arkansas running the I formation instead of the flex bone this year and leading Tulsa by a score of 13-0. Games tonight, Southern Mississippi upset Florida State, then was upset last week by Mississippi State. They travel to play number 5 Auburn tonight. Oklahoma, looking for number 3 in a row, will be in Tucson to play Arizona. And number 7 Clemson, also in a tough place to win at Blacksburg, Virginia, will go for 3 straight. They'll be playing Virginia Tech. Army and Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. Syracuse comes from behind to beat Army. The score 10-7. It was 2nd and 9 at the Army 23 when number 44 Michael Owens took this pitch and went 23 yards for the touchdown. Syracuse, trailing Army most of the afternoon, comes back to win it by a score of 10-7. West Virginia and South Carolina, the Mountaineers win it 45-21. Big day for Major Harris. 239 yards passing with 3 touchdowns and 57 yards running and 1 touchdown. 296 total yards for Major Harris. West Virginia wins it big. Purdue at Washington in the first quarter. Washington leads at 7-0. Kerry Conklin, a 1-yard touchdown pass for the Huskies. Memphis State playing Alabama in Birmingham, and it's the Crimson Tide leading at 21-7. Kevin Turner, a 40-yard run for Alabama. Alabama leading at 21-7. And an upset in the making at Iowa City, where the Iowa Hawkeyes trail Oregon 38-6. That is now a fourth quarter score. Iowa Bill Musgrave has had 3 touchdown passes against the Hawkeyes, and Oregon leads it 38-6. There is much more ahead as the Prudential College Football Report continues here on CBS with a look at more scores from across the nation.
Go above and beyond, just like you, above and beyond what we have to do.
I'm a Prudential representative, and I help people review their life insurance needs because I know how much the right life insurance means to me and my family.
You take pride in your life, so do we. Going above and beyond is our policy. The Rock, the Prudential, above and beyond.
We go above and beyond just like you, above and beyond what we have to do.
I'm a Prudential representative. When I talk to people about CDs and mutual funds, they're surprised at the wide range of investment opportunities I can offer.
You work hard, so do we, to make what you've worked for a reality.
The Rock, the Prudential, above and beyond.
Welcome back to New York, everyone. Let's continue with the scores now. And at Beaver Stadium in University Park, Pennsylvania, Penn State, behind the running of Blair Thomas, beats Temple. Blair Thomas in his second game back after 22 months of rehabilitation.
Come on, Blair. Push. Pull down. Good.
Thomas, 21 carries, 138 yards, and 2 touchdowns today. He busts up the middle here and goes 49 yards to set up a Penn State touchdown that made the score 35-3. Penn State wins its first of the season, goes to 1-1. The Nittany Lions 42-3 winners over Temple. Rutgers bounces back at the Meadowlands to beat Boston College this afternoon. The final score 9-7 in the rain. Watch number 23, John Blanton, block the BC punt. It's recovered by teammate number 97, Rich Humphrey, gets it for the Scarlet Knights. That led to Doug Giesler's game-winning field goal from 21 yards out with 9 seconds to play. Rutgers a 9-7 winner. After 2 ties, the Scarlet Knights win their first. At Ohio State, the Buckeyes have now won 11 consecutive home openers. They beat Oklahoma State 37-13. Indiana and Missouri, that is now a final, and the Hoosiers win it 24-7. Meanwhile, it was Minnesota at Iowa State, and it is Bob Stull, incidentally, Missouri, looking for his second victory as head coach of Missouri, to be the first coach at Missouri to win 2 straight as the new head coach since Don Farrow in 1935. He didn't do that, so Missouri a loser at Indiana today. Now, Minnesota at Iowa State, and that game is in the 4th quarter. Minnesota leading the Cyclones by 10. Darrell Thompson, 99 yards with 24 carries for Minnesota. Toledo and Wisconsin are in the 4th quarter at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison. It's the Badgers leading it by a score of 13-10. Michigan State all over Miami of Ohio this afternoon, 49-0. Blake Ezor, 3 touchdowns and 130 yards rushing. All of that came in the first half. And Michigan State with a killer of the schedule upcoming. The next 5 weeks they will play Notre Dame, Miami Hurricanes, Iowa, Michigan, and Illinois. Kansas over Kent State today. That is a final now. 28-21 is the score. Kansas coach Glenn Mason coached at Kent State in 86 and 87 before leaving for Kansas. Virginia and Georgia Tech. Tech coach Bobby Ross still winless in the ACC in his 2+ years at Georgia Tech. Marcus Wilson, 153 yards. That's a career-high rushing for him as the Cavaliers win it 17-10. Maryland, 23-0 winners this afternoon over Western Michigan. 4 interceptions in the first half set up the Terps as they played good defense today and beat Western Michigan. The final score 23-0. Kentucky and North Carolina. This game played in Lexington this afternoon. Alfred Rawls, a 7-yard run for a touchdown, 2 more field goals, and Kentucky beating North Carolina. The final there, 13-6. And Georgia over Baylor this afternoon by a score of 15-3. This was a big game indeed for the Georgia Bulldogs and their brand new coach, Ray Goff, who led the Bulldogs onto the field for the first time this season in his debut, while 25-year coach Vince Dooley looked on, and what he saw was Georgia's number 57, Morris Lewis, sacked quarterback Brad Gable. Good defensive day for the Bulldogs. Georgia beat Baylor this afternoon. The final score, 15-3. We'll take a time out here, and coming up, we'll talk live with Larry Zonka and Floyd Little, the two Syracuse University legends, just part of the party, helping celebrate 100 years of football for the Orange Men. Right now, we'll continue with the Prudential College Football Report on CBS with more scores from around the country.
Here's a song Eddie Boyle and I made famous a long time ago. I wish he was here tonight, because this used to be our song.
Sir! But I'm late. 5 years late.
Eddie Boyle!
Hiya, Charlie. Put a lid on it.
Little birds are singing. It's a bright sunny day.
Baby, I'm back.
Eddie!
And I'm here to say I had everything, all my dreams come true. You in my arms, socked and bound, and a home for two.
In the movies, it's easy to make dreams come true and end up with a bright financial future, peace of mind, and the home of your dreams. But in the real world, you need rock-solid investment advice, the right protection for your family, and expert help when you're buying or selling a home. So for your family's dreams, come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Floyd Little and Larry Zonka, Mr. Outside and Mr. Inside for the Syracuse Orangemen back in the 1960s. You know them well, and certainly graduates of Syracuse University knew them well, as they helped build a great football tradition at a school that had slumped over the last several years, but there was a resurgence. Both men at the head of the class for last night's centennial dinner. Floyd Little remains the Syracuse all-time career touchdown leader, a three-time All-American halfback in 1964, 65, and 66. And Larry Zonka bowled his way to two All-American teams in 1966 and 67. And from there, Zonka carried his talents to a legendary career with the Miami Dolphins. And joining me now live from Syracuse, New York, are Floyd Little and Larry Zonka, and neither guy can believe that they look that way. Floyd...
what are you talking about?
Floyd, strange that you're wearing that number 44, because famous 44s include Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, and I talked with Coach Dick McPherson. I asked him if when guys come to the school, if they recognize the significance of that number. He says, no, not really, but that really wasn't the case when you went to Syracuse, was it?
Well, they still kind of recognize you. Michael Owens had a great game today. I put it on at halftime. We wasn't doing so well, and I thought maybe I could help a little bit, so I went out and bought a jersey to wear just in case. But no, it's a still recognizable number. It seems like everybody around campus wear it.
Number 44 played big in your role at 10 Syracuse, didn't it?
It sure did, and it still does. We got another 44 back, so and we're back as a power, and it's good to see us running pretty well. Ernie Davis was the guy that recruited me. Jim Brown recruited him, so it's good to have Michael Owens now.
Let me ask Larry Zonka his feelings about watching the Syracuse Orangemen play indoors, where you can't really get as dirty as you were when you played football.
I never played dirty. I was all done with mirrors, Greg. I wasn't. I know, I'm having a great time just being here and watching the team perform. It's a beautiful campus, great stadium. And I think it's interesting that on the 100th anniversary of football here at SU, we have the only individual that was here for the entire thing, Floyd Little.
Larry, what's your thought on the resurgence of football at Syracuse? I mentioned that a couple of moments ago. Did you think it would come back as well as it has?
I was pulling for Coach Mack to bring it back. In my estimation, Coach McPherson's probably the only comparable in the nation right now to what I call the primetime coach in collegiate football, and that's, of course, Coach Holtz. I think they're two guys that kind of lead the nation in what collegiate football and collegiate sports are all about. They're enthusiastic. They have strong disciplinary positions with their team. The school backs them up, and it's a very positive situation.
All right, Larry Zonka and Floyd Little, thanks for taking time out from the party to join us, and continued best wishes to you both. Floyd Little and Larry Zonka. And I want to update one score for you. That game happening at Ann Arbor, Michigan. It is now about 4 minutes to play in the first half, and Tony Rice has thrown a 6-yard touchdown pass to Anthony Johnson. Notre Dame in the lead by a score of 7-0. Right now, they're getting ready for the second half at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, where Colorado is leading Illinois here on CBS. Jim Nance and Pat Hayden are there calling the action. I'm Greg Gumbel in New York. Thank you for watching the Prudential College Football Report. Enjoy the rest of today's game.
The Prudential College Football Report has been sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
I'm from Canton, Ohio.
I'm from Mesa, Arizona.
I'm from Long Island, New York.
Fairfax, Iowa. Chicago.
New York. I'm from Champaign, Illinois. Tripoli, Alava. I'm from Missoula, Montana.
Saugatuck, Michigan.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Chesterfield, Missouri.
I'm from Toronto, Canada.
We are the University of Illinois.
October 7th, 1961. Fourth quarter, down 19-0. Buff quarterback Gail Widener hurls 3 touchdown passes to beat Big 8 powerhouse Kansas.
People from Kansas still are mad at me for that. I wouldn't trade those experiences or those memories for anything. I think it'd be nice to have a real sound team. But I think it's more important that Colorado be known for their academics and that they run a good, safe program.
100 years of Colorado football. Commitment to the student athlete.
Visa honors America's Olympians, like Illinois' Avery Brundage, former president of the International Olympic Committee, and Colorado's William Marolt, a member of the 1964 U.S. Olympic ski team. Today, collegiate athletes are in training for the 1992 Olympics. Visa will donate $1,000 to each university and $1,000 to the 1992 U.S. Olympic team for their efforts in the development of our future U.S. Olympians.
We welcome you back to Colorado, where the Buffaloes lead Illinois. All the scoring in the first quarter. And Pat Hayden, I think that Illinois' defense was somewhat caught off guard by the game plan of the Buffaloes.
I'll give the Buffalo coaches some credit, but their defense is set up to stop the run. They're committing 9 guys up to the front. And what's happening here, ordinarily the free safety plays right here, but Primus, the free safety from Illinois, is playing up a little too close so that the post pattern runs right behind him. Now, remember, this is also 3rd and 13, even more of a reason for the free safety to be deep in coverage. Now, they've run this same post pattern 3 times, Jim, with success.
A number of big plays in the first half by the Buffaloes. We'll come back, get started with the second half after this message and a word from your local station.
This is the shop of Samsat Bazaar, a thriving establishment on the outskirts of Bangkok. Unlike other international executives, he has no phone system, no computers, not even a fax machine. He does, however, enjoy one modern and efficient service nearly 4 billion people in 175 countries today can take for granted. UPS. We run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Over its life, a Motorcraft battery delivers enough energy to light up a small park, like Candlestick Park. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
When you're a company that makes building products, you get real familiar with trees. Georgia Pacific has known these trees for over 50 years. We planted most of them. You know them as our double-sanded Southern Gold plywood or our designer paneling.
But GP also has products like shingles, nails, gypsum, which don't come from trees at all. So whether the building supplies you need grow on trees or not, ask for GP. That's all you need to know.
This is CBS.
Nobody believed in Johnny Handsome.
I know who you are, and I know what you are. Nothing but a cheap crook.
Until a miracle changed his life.
I will give you a new face and a chance at a new life.
Now it's time for Johnny to believe in himself.
Why don't you give me a little hint, baby? Help me remember who you are. You got a shot at a better life. You can't just throw that away.
Johnny Handsome, rated R.
Starts Friday, September 29th at a theater near you.
This is the entire contents of the 2-bedroom home of Donna and Bill Hudson, and this is the truck they're going to move in. Now for the demonstration. Following the instructions in our mover's handbook, we're showing how to get all that stuff safely into the truck. And it's a cinch. Okay, guys, now it's your turn. Unload the truck. Move yourself with Ryder. We make the going easy.
Get the last word on sports with Brian Dries and John Keating on Sports Final, Sunday at 10:35. And on the John Elway Show, it's a special Tuesday night edition, live from the Denver Zoo. John and the boys will have highlights, the plays of the week, plus a few surprises. The John Elway Show, live from the Denver Zoo, Tuesday night at 6:30 on KMGH Channel 7. Brought to you in part by Taco Bell, home of the 59-cent value menu.
KMGH Channel 7 salutes the rhythms of Colorado.
CBS Sports coverage of today's CFA game is sponsored by Sure. Be confident of both wetness and odor protection. Raise your hand if you're sure. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. And by your Toyota dealer, whatever car or truck you choose, you'll love the quality. Who could ask for anything more?
Well, just a moment ago, Pat Hayden talked about the adjustments needed to be made by the free safety by Illinois. Well, John Dockery talked with John Makovic about that.
Coach, were you surprised by the Colorado passing game in the first half?
No, I wasn't surprised. I'm a little bit in shock. They've made every play possible, and they did a great job with it. We expected they would have some plays like that. Their execution's been perfect.
Where is your free safety?
Well, he plays a little bit of the option and everything. They've taken advantage of him, but we'll have to make some adjustments this half. It'll be interesting to see what we do the second half and whether they try him again.
Thank you, Coach.
And the second half is underway. Illinois will bring it out to the 20 as the kick goes through the end zone. 5 plays in all for 25 yards or more by the Buffaloes. The big play in the first half, all 3 touchdowns in the first quarter by Colorado. 73-yard pass play to Jeff Campbell, setting up the Bieniemy run right off the bat. And then a Bieniemy touchdown pass to M.J. Nelson and a J.J. Flannigan 45-yard scamper for a touchdown. Illinois drove it downfield on its first possession for a score. But it's 21-7. The 8th-ranked Buffaloes over the 10th-ranked Illinois fighting the Illini. By the way, John Makovic also mentioned to John Dockery, the tail end of that interview, that Jeff George is just fine. And he's in there. First down carry. Griffith with a nice sidestep to stay on his feet and pick up 8. Dave McCluen finally ran him down.
Well, John Makovic, we were talking about the ability of his quarterback, Jeff George, to bring his team from behind. He said, hey, he does not get rattled in that situation. Some quarterbacks just seem to like that situation. He calls it my time. And he's done it throughout his career in high school. He did it 3 times a year ago against Indiana and Michigan State. He did it 2 weeks ago against Southern Cal.
Yeah, he relishes the role. The comeback kid, Jeff George, 2nd and 2. Again, it's Griffith. First down and more. Good block by Stephen Williams, and Griffith gets to the 46-yard line. Jeff Finke with a block. Bruce Young in on the tackle for Colorado. First down, Illinois, 19-yard gain.
You mentioned Jeff Finke, the tight end, number 87 there, who did a great job of making the block there for Griffith. He's known as a tight end who catches the ball, but that time he made a real nice block that allowed Griffith just to kind of cut off and pick up the first down.
Victor Williams comes in to replace Griffith. Griffith has run his numbers up now to 14 carries, 78 yards. Sean Wax in as a receiver. George looking right to Finke. Right at midfield and wrestled down by David Gibbs and Michael Jones. Mentioned that David Gibbs' father, Alex, is the offensive line coach for the Los Angeles Raiders. Dave McCluen, the other corner, his father was Kent McCluen. And Kent is now a scout for the Raiders and, of course, a 6-year veteran when they were back in Oakland. Kent McCluen.
Michigan missed the extra point, so they trail Notre Dame by 1.
2nd down and 5. Square at midfield. Williams for no gain. The whole line there to meet him. This is a line for Colorado that beefed up its size in the offseason, Pat.
Well, they all won on a big conditioning program. Joel Steed, up to 280, number 93, who really put the stop on him first. Again, he's done a nice job of rushing the passer as well as stuffing those early runs. Saw him tip a ball earlier in the game as well.
Steed hit the weight room in the summer. Bulked up. Third down, and again 5 now for Jeff George. Call it 3rd and 6 as he operates out of the shotgun. Across the middle, Bellamy. He jumped up in the air for it, but couldn't come down. In on the coverage, Greg Thomas, David Gibbs.
Now, this is something they didn't use much of, the shotgun formation, really, in the first half, and particularly when George got hurt. You would have thought they would have used it more, but you saw how he backed off. That ball was thrown high because he had some pressure in his face. He could not follow through. So the key to the game, we said, was the rush on Jeff George.
Minkhausen, it's a punt. Campbell to return.
Wow.
Another man breaks through. Julian Hayward came close. Ball bounces into the end zone. Touchback. Colorado will have the football for the first time in the second half, starting at its own 20-yard line. 21-7. The Buffs in front.
The test of a great airline is not just how fast it moves you in the air, but how fast it moves you on the ground. That's why at some of the busiest airports in the world, United Airlines offers you the most advanced baggage systems, faster ticketing and boarding procedures, and the most spacious, convenient, efficient terminals in the business. United Airlines, from the ground up, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies.
What are you giving there, 5 or 4? Okay, we are back in Folsom Field, and while we were away, Colorado ran a play. Eric Bieniemy for 4 yards up the middle. Bieniemy now within 5 yards of 2,000 rushing yards on his career. Hagan keeps it, picks up 2.
A nice play there by Mo Gardner, Joe. Again, the nose tackle, we talk about him having that feel. Again, you don't talk about nose tackles having a feel for the game, but Mo Gardner does. He ran right around the center's block and then ran behind Hagan to make the stop.
That is Mo with an E.
Yeah. But the SID staff's been spelling his name wrong for 3 years. He wants the E at the end.
He requested that yesterday, so we'll give him an E. Mo Gardner. Dangerous nose tackle. 3rd and 3. Bieniemy. Look out! Corralled by Henry Jones.
Most small backs, and Eric Bieniemy is 5'7", 190. He runs hard. Most small backs don't run with great authority from tackle to tackle. Eric Bieniemy does. As a matter of fact, he likes to do that. He says, when I get inside, the big guys they underestimate me. But watch the center's block of Lewenberg, 52. Right on Gardner. Just an option play. Gardner really stunted out of the position, and Bieniemy in the I formation read the block. The cutback run. Again, the free safety is not there to make the tackle.
Flannigan comes in on 1st and 10. He gets the pitch, and he is dropped by Quentin Parker. Maybe a loss of a yard. Bieniemy goes over 2,000 yards with that run of 48 yards. He's the 7th Colorado player to ever achieve that mark.
And like I was saying earlier, he said, hey, when I run in the middle, the big guys in the defense don't respect me. They underestimate me. And that may be where he is best, from tackle to tackle.
Bieniemy comes back in. Kissick, the fullback, as they line up again in the I. Fumble, snap, may have been recovered by the Illini. Brian Williams was in there. Williams is not the man with the recovery, however. So that's another turnover, Pat. That was a big one, by the way, at the end of the first half by Glasson on the interception.
Well, Jim, you mentioned a good point. Bill McCartney, the head coach of Colorado, was saying, hey, we haven't turned the ball over much this year. But 2 turnovers thus far in the game today for the Buffaloes.
Williams knocked it loose. Mel Agee on the recovery.
And again, you see what happened there. The center was actually pulling. Leuenberg was actually moving down the line of scrimmage. And sometimes when that happens, the ball comes up short, and you get a fumbled exchange.
On a beautiful, bright, sunny afternoon, just beneath the Rocky Mountains, the foothills of the Rockies in Folsom Field. 2 teams in the top 10, Illinois and Colorado. Breakthrough game. The winner will prove it's a national power in '89. Jeff George to Stephen Williams. And that's a long pass to pick up 8 or 9 yards on the play. If you just joined us, Eric Bieniemy got the scoring started. Just 3 minutes into the game, Bieniemy scored, set up by a long pass play. Illinois then tied it on its opening possession. Griffith from 2 yards. Back came Colorado. M.J. Nelson on a pass play from Eric Bieniemy. And then J.J. Flannigan, back up to Bieniemy, raced 45 yards. Flannigan on his 21st birthday.
And it's been a very impressive offensive game plan by the Buffaloes, throwing the ball when Illinois really didn't expect it coming into today.
2nd and 2, busted play, and George just falls down. We have seen a great number of different backs in the game for Illinois lining up behind Jeff George. And one of the highly touted freshmen has just come into the game for the first time. Wagner Lester. Now Lester will go out on this play as Griffith returns.
Well, they have 3 freshmen that they believe will really contribute to this team as the season goes on. Lester being one of those. Boyer, of course, with whom we've seen, and Steve Fagan.
3rd down and 4. George will not get away from Williams. Third sack. 2nd one by Williams.
Again, the low snap by Lovelace, the center. Williams just gets off, and that time he wasn't in the 3-point stance. He was up, just hurdled the guy who tried to block him too low. He's too much of an athlete. He's 6'6", was a high school basketball player, and he's going to make plays like that.
Brings in Minkhausen. Campbell standing at his home 42. No pressure this time. Spiraling kick comes to Campbell at his 37. And a flag falls after the 10-yard return. 44-yard punt by Minkhausen. Had a lot of flags on the special teams play today. Jason Gard made the tackle for Illinois.
Jim, let's go back to the top of the day, and we said the key to this football game was, if you're an Illinois fan, is protecting Jeff George. And on the Colorado side is putting pressure on him. And that's what they did the whole first half.
Flip during the return, 15 yards, 1st down.
And they've continued that here in the second half, putting lots of pressure on Jeff George.
When it comes to roominess, the 1989 Toyota Camry will make you sit down and take notice. It's spacious and comfortable. Best of all, the Camry gives you Toyota quality and room with a great view.
What's the difference? It takes too long to learn to use a computer.
Wrong. DeskMate makes the difference with graphics that guide you.
Learning new software is like starting over.
Not now. DeskMate uses the same plain English commands with different programs like load a spreadsheet for DeskMate.
A computer? I wouldn't know what to do.
Now you will. DeskMate makes the difference.
DeskMate is simple.
It's PC compatible.
DeskMate is even easier on Tandy computers.
The friendly face in the PC crowd at Radio Shack and participating dealers.
Tomorrow is week 2 of the NFL season. We have a doubleheader coming your way on CBS Sports. Early, most will see the Eagles and Redskins, while later in the day, most will watch that Minnesota-Chicago game. That's a key game here early in the year. It all gets started at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today.
Jim, we saw Tampa Bay a week ago.
When you talk about the NFL today, though, and you're watching Illinois, you've got to bring back Dick Butkus, one of 2 players with jerseys retired at Illinois. The last real man, Pat, 1962 to 64.
Is that his own nickname for himself?
I don't know, but did he build that graphic? Shipped it into us. The only other player with his jersey retired at Illinois, Harold Red Grange. 1st and 10 for Colorado. Up the middle to give is to Hemingway, George Hemingway, Jr. from Colton, California. Scored a touchdown in the opener against Texas.
It's really been kind of a funny offensive rhythm and game for Colorado thus far, Jim, in that they really haven't had long drives. There's just been a lot of big plays. They really haven't taken the ball and marched it down the field as we saw them in the first 2 games, but they've come up with a big plays here to be able to lead by 14.
Last carry by Hemingway was the first one by a fullback today in the Colorado offense. Flannigan on 2nd down. Picked up a yard, tackled by Williams. We're going to send you back now to New York for an update from Greg Gumbel.
Jim, the game between Notre Dame and Michigan is now at halftime. The Wolverines got on the board just inside the end of the first half. 25 seconds remaining. Michael Taylor threw 9 yards to Chris Callaway, but J.D. Carlson's extra point attempt hit the upright, did not go through. Notre Dame leads it 7-6 at halftime. Let's go back to Boulder.
All right, Greg. Of course, last year that game came down to the kickers. Reggie Ho and Mike Gillette. 3rd down and 5. Hagan jumping up and completing the pass to Bieniemy. Bieniemy picks up the 1st down.
When was the last time you saw the jump pass? You're looking at a guy, Darian Hagan, who can beat you a lot of different ways. He can beat you with his feet, his head. He calls good audibles at the line of scrimmage. Today it's been with his right arm.
He would like at times for it to be with his left arm. He is ambidextrous, but the coaches have kind of talked him out of that, Pat.
He threw one in practice early in the summer, and the coaches said that's enough of that, even though he completed it left-handed, 40 yards downfield.
Used to throw both hands, high school. Bieniemy, look at him just tiptoeing his way around and finding an open hole for 7 or 8 yards. Eric Bieniemy now warming up here in the 2nd half. He's up to 79 yards on the day on 12 rushes. What kind of season do you see for Colorado down the line? Bill McCartney's made it very clear Nebraska is his biggest game on the schedule.
Well, for the first time in his tenure here, they have the talent to compete head-on-head for the Big 8 crown.
2nd and 2. Gibbs to the fullback, Hemingway. And I believe he has the 1st down inside the 50. 1st down. Next week, the Buffaloes will have an open date, but then pick up the schedule at Washington. Texas A&M knows how difficult that is to win up there. Then Missouri, Iowa State, Kansas, they move into the Big 8 play. Bill McCartney's team with victories over Texas and Colorado State beat the Rams, a team that forgot its uniforms on the way down here for the game. 1st and 10. Hagan. Look at him improvise and pick up 9 yards.
But also look who made the stop. The nose tackle, Mo Gardner, who was scrambled around, never quit. The guy who just refuses to quit, although he's now he's asking for, he's giving up now. He's coming in. Just when I say that, Mo, come on.
I want to go out of the game.
We gave you the E a little bit earlier at the end of your name. At least you can stay in when I'm talking about you. But a guy who plays hard every single down.
I don't see an E on there. We have not officially given him the E yet. Pickup of 9 by Hagan. 2nd and 1. Bieniemy picks up the 1st. Running behind Muhlenberg. Quentin Parker makes the tackle. How about this offensive line for the Buffaloes?
Well, coming into the season, Jim, this was the strength of this team. A lot of guys coming back other than the center, Muhlenberg, but he's played well in the first 2 games. But the last 2 plays, Muhlenberg, the right guard, has thrown some nice blocks for Bieniemy and Hagan to move behind.
Colorado rushing. Usually the barometer for them is 300 yards on the afternoon as a team. They can achieve 300 yards. The record is pretty impressive. Here's Hagan. Last second pitch to Bieniemy. He tries to hurdle over Primus.
And I think he hurt himself in the hurdling move there, Jim. But that's what makes this Colorado team so difficult to defend. They give you that power I, which is 3 backs in the backfield, and they can run I formation plays there with Bieniemy up the middle, and then they can put the option on the corner with Hagan and Bieniemy outside with speed.
With Bieniemy out, Flannigan's in. We've seen Flannigan break one already today. 1st and 10. Inside the Hemingway. No gain, Mark Zitnick. Backup nose tackle to Mo Gardner. And Steve Glasson combined on the tackle. Hemingway, the fullback, getting some work here. 1987, he started 5 games as a tight end, but they moved him back to the fullback position.
Jim, I think time is beginning to become somewhat of a factor with this drive by Colorado. A little over 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter and driving down the score.
4 minutes and 30 seconds on this drive, Pat. Flannigan. They had guys all over him after the handoff. Quentin Parker was in there. Mel Agee kind of sliced him under.
Here comes Eric Bieniemy. Anytime they get close to the goal line, he wants to be in the game. Coaches say they've never seen as fierce a competitor as he is. Will block, will catch the ball, will run inside, will run outside. He's a great leader.
And he's within 5 yards of 100 yards on the afternoon. 3rd down. Hagan will not get the pass away. And Colorado stays, though, within field goal range. Mel Agee in the backfield on Hagan.
A sack in that situation really hurts you because it obviously makes it a lot more difficult for your field goal kicker.
Kicker is Ken Culbertson, senior from right here in Boulder. Big guy, 6'4". Culbertson's 3 for 4 on the season. He's only missed from 45 yards. This is a 45-yard attempt. And he nails it. The field goal makes it a 3-score difference. 24-7 Buffaloes.
Introducing the totally redesigned 1990 4-wheel drive Toyota 4Runner. Now the additional performance from its available V6 is combined with additional comfort, additional necessities, and additional doors. Where you go in your new 4-door Toyota 4Runner is your concern. Getting you back is ours.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store, where the Sandvik 21-inch bow saw is the September True Value of the month. Use it to prune branches in the yard. Its fine teeth cut without sticking. Or take it camping. The knuckle protector helps when cutting firewood. During September, get the Sandvik 21-inch bow saw for just $2.99, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Raise your hand. You got it. Raise your hand. You know it. You feel confident, secure.
You got it. That Sure, secure, confident feeling. Because Sure's double-action formula fights wetness while it kills bacteria that cause odor. Be sure of both odor and wetness protection. Get Sure.
Confident, confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure.
TV Guide has made its choice. Their favorite this year is the famous Teddy Z. Oh. Everyone's talking about John Cryer as the famous Teddy Z. Premieres Monday on ZBS.
We're in Colorado. And no, this is not from last winter. It's from this week. It was a little winter wonderland on Tuesday. In fact, the snow forced Colorado to take practice indoors. The weather can change here in a hurry. Illinois hopes the momentum can change in a hurry, trailing 24-7. Today's temperature in the 80s now. Culbertson kicking away. Stephen Williams has a beat on it, 1 yard deep. Chad Brown wrestles him down at the 14-yard line. A reminder that next Saturday our CFA coverage continues. The Michigan State Spartans shutout winner today over Miami of Ohio, 42-0. Blake Ezor with a big game will go against Notre Dame. And the Irish leading over the Wolverines at halftime by that single missed point after.
Jim, as you look to obviously the 24-7 score, Jeff George, I think, is going to have to hit his wide receivers on the move. They haven't been catching the ball while they're moving to give him a chance to make a big play.
Most of his passes today have been of the short variety. Ken Thomas, the senior, has some running room. He fumbled. I believe it was recovered by Tim James of Colorado. It is Buffalo football.
A terrific block by number 72, Laster, right there in the middle of your screen, really opened up the hole for Thomas. Then he broke to the outside. The ball was stripped there, it looked like, by Gibbs, number 15, and James made the recovery. That's 2 strips by this Colorado defense.
This part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
He says his part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Book says it fits.
If your auto parts store is telling you one thing, but your car is telling you another, talk to Big A instead. At Big A, we supply the pros, so we have to know what we're talking about, and our parts have to be pro quality. It's one more way we earn the A every day.
Where's your car?
Just off Route 19 in St. Petersburg is a place where you can learn to ski the Alps and shoot the rapids all in the same building. At Bill Jackson Sporting Goods, you can practice everything from a stem Christie to an Eskimo roll. But if you go there, remember, bring your imagination and your Visa card. Because Bill Jackson doesn't promise you Sun Moritz, and he doesn't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
My palms used to sweat when I had to get on the highway. Now with my Camry V6, I just punch. Yeah! Punch it, Margaret!
I love it. The 1989 Toyota Camry V6. 24 valves, 153 horsepower to please even the toughest customers.
We just fell in love with life in the fat lane.
My Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
Division collisions. The Eagles and the Skims. The Vikings and the Bears. No love will be lost tomorrow.
Late third quarter, a game that has been controlled from the start by Colorado. And a turnover just committed by the Illini. Second turnover of the day by Illinois. The other one, a pass interception by David Gibbs. And Colorado turned that one into a touchdown. Flannigan for 3 up the middle. It's update time. Let's take it back to Greg Gumbel in New York.
Jim, Miami has broken open a close game against the California Golden Bears. Leonard Conley, 7 yards for the touchdown here. The Hurricanes recovered a fumble on the ensuing kickoff, and Erickson hit Shannon Crowell with a touchdown pass. 2.5 to play in the first half. It's Miami 17-3.
All right, Greg. Miami continues to put up big numbers like last week against Wisconsin. Over 50 in that one. 2nd and 8. Fake to Kissick. Hagan is going to be dragged down for a loss. Mo Gardner.
I'll tell you, he is so fast off the ball, Gardner is. Never stops moving his feet. And so even if you get him blocked, he's going to spin out of it and still make a lot of plays. Real instinctive player. His mother is a high school our kindergarten teacher in Indianapolis, and she said she's more proud of how well he's done in school than the fact that he made All Big Ten a year ago.
He's a high school teammate with Derek Brownlow, the fine linebacker for the Illini. 3rd and long, the delay. Flannigan, look out, here he goes again. What speed, he's down inside of the 10. J.J. Flannigan, 26 yards in all.
And when you watch Flannigan, he doesn't look like there's much effort. But watch how he picks those feet up and just runs right through a couple of tackles, breaks an arm tackle, and a lot of speed guys like Flannigan doesn't have the kind of moves and the shuffle and the shake that he does. But he can outrun you on the corner, and he can put a move on you to make you miss as well.
The senior from Pomona, California, now within 11 yards of 100. 9 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. 1st and goal. Flannigan. Touchdown, Colorado. Ran it behind the center, Jay Lewinberg. Second touchdown of the day for J.J. Flannigan, converting the turnover in just 4 plays, 34 yards for a touchdown for the Buffaloes. Culbertson's kick is good.
But it's really been fun, Jim, watching the center, Lewinberg, number 52, and Gardner go at it. They both had their share of victories. That time, Lewinberg just kicked Gardner out of the way, and then he followed his fullback, Kissick, and his tight end, Bowman, into the end zone. You take a look right here, this matchup right here, as Lewinberg, who was beaten a little bit earlier by Gardner, this time he just pushes him out, gets some help by the fullback, Kissick, and then Flannigan follows Kissick's and Bowman's block, the tight end who made a nice block downfield as well.
Just 17 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. And the Buffaloes have broken it open. 31-7.
Well, you know, you wouldn't be surprised, Jim, to see actually Illinois go into their hurry-up offense already, down 31-7. They did it 2 weeks ago against Southern Cal with 6 minutes left, and last year against Michigan State, they played the whole 4th quarter in their 2-minute offense.
Jeff George has been held to 98 yards passing on 12 completions. 12 for 22, 1 interception, 98 yards. Notre Dame has scored in the 3rd quarter, now 14-6.
And if Illinois is going to come back, I think, Jim, they're going to have to get the ball in the hands of Mike Bellamy, their big play receiver, on the move so he can break a play for a big game.
Culbertson line kick. Williams will down it into the end zone. By the way, Notre Dame scored on Rahib Ishmael's 89-yard kickoff return to open up the 2nd half.
Ishmael did that last year a couple of times as well.
Pat, let's take it downstairs to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, a lot of strange things happen on the sideline, but this is Rick George, Colorado's coordinator. And Rick, what are you doing?
I'm talking to a recruit from Alabama.
Is that right? How many recruits might you call during the game?
About 15.
About 15, huh? Boy, technology comes to recruiting.
That's right. You got to have it.
This has got to be impressive for recruiting this day.
Yeah, it is. It makes a difference.
All right. Thank you. Now back to you, Jim.
Rick George, by the way, used to be the recruiting coordinator at Illinois before coming over 2 years ago. George picked off by McLuhan. Dave McLuhan. He was rattled early in this game with 2 pass interference calls, but he comes back, makes a big play.
Well, isn't that nice to see from McLuhan? Early in the game, he was beaten on the pass interference penalties.
Third turnover of the day for Illinois. And 12 seconds are left in the third quarter.
McClellan did a nice job of baiting Jeff George. Laid back, so George thought the receiver was open, and then just drove on the ball and made a nice catch to get and got a foot in.
From the Illinois 22. George Hemingway for a gain of 2. Met by a whole host of defenders. That's the final play of the third quarter. With the score, Colorado 31, Illinois 7. College football on CBS Sports will return after this message and a word from your local station.
The struggle for excellence is the spirit behind running a business. It's the only way to run an airline. At Northwest, helping you do business is putting us on the fast track. In all we do, we're striving to jump the line from merely good to being great. Because being the best is the only thing we want to be.
Build and shape our future, we invite you to learn the technology of tomorrow while you serve your country in the Navy of today.
This is CBS.
Now is the time to reward yourself with Lincoln Luxury. You'll find so many reasons to enjoy the uncompromised luxury, the interior roominess of Lincoln Town Car, the exhilarating performance of Lincoln Mark 7, and the world-class engineering of Lincoln Continental. During our official factory clearance, you can reward yourself with $1,500 customer cash on Mark 7 and Town Car, $1,000 on Continental. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer for details. Lincoln, what a luxury car should be.
This is a recipe for love. New Cheese Lovers Plus. Blend an abundance of 3 alluring cheeses. Add 2 irresistible toppings, your choice. And what you get is 1 provocative pizza. Get all this love for only $8.99. Or get twice the affection for just $4 more. New Cheese Lovers Plus from Pizza Hut. The name says it all.
B.F. Goodrich TA tires perform like great athletic shoes. Grab. Dig. Because B.F. Goodrich TA tires are low and wide. B.F. Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes for your car.
Join us Tuesday night live from the Denver Zoo.
CBS Sports coverage of today's CFA game is sponsored by Michelob. One taste will tell you why the night belongs to Michelob. Sharp Electronics Corporation. From sharp minds come sharp products. And by Allstate. For home, auto, and life insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate.
Along with Pat Hayden, Jim Nance from Folsom Field, where the Buffaloes add a field goal and a touchdown in the third quarter to open up a lead of 24 points, 31-7. Big plays today by the Buffs, 7 over 20 yards, and Hagan passing-wise, nearing the 200-yard mark. Total offense, 434 for Colorado, threatening again as we start the fourth quarter. 2nd and 7 from the 19 of Illinois. Bieniemy on the pitch. Oh, he was tripped. He had a whole wave in front of him. It looked like an open area to run to, but Quentin Parker wouldn't let him get there.
Yeah, Bieniemy knows that there was a huge alley for him there. He may have scored on that, but Parker, the strong safety, did a nice job of making the play and just getting a hand underneath Bieniemy's feet.
Bieniemy 15 carries, 97 yards. Washington, there's a team that will be coming on this year on the Pac-10. 3rd and 5. Hagan has the first down, and he goes out of bounds at the 8. It looked like he was thinking run all the way.
That was a quarterback draw off all the way. A little unusual, though, off a play-action fake. Ordinarily, you drop straight back and make your way upfield, but they did it off the play-action fake here. Again, wide rush on the outside, and he just found that little crease to the left side. The defensive end came upfield so much. There was a natural hole there for Hagan and followed the block of M.J. Nelson for the first down.
So it's 1st and goal from the 8. Hemingway and Bieniemy in the backfield. Pickup of a yard for Bieniemy. Maybe. Kurt Gregus, Mel Agee. Tackle.
You know, when teams ordinarily get down, as Mo Gardner comes off, get down inside the 20-yard line, they oftentimes become one-dimensional. But we have seen from Colorado thus far is being able to do several different things down here. They've thrown the ball, they've run options, and they've run power football. And they've been successful doing all three.
Zitnik replaces Gardner. They're going to give Bieniemy a loss of a yard on that play. 2nd and goal. Running to the short side. Hagan gets to the 5. Parker in on that pile.
This Illinois defense, Jim, cannot allow Colorado to get 7 more points. They've got to find a way to come up with a play. They must strip a ball carrier, much like Colorado's defense has forced two fumbles by stripping the ball. Guys have to get their hands in, knock it away, make a play.
3rd and goal. They call it a key play here. You see the keys in everyone's hand? Key play.
I get it.
Hagan will not get away.
That'd be a face mask.
Romero Bryce, did he grab him by the face mask?
It was an easy call.
Romero Bryce.
That's a tough play. Obviously, they bow their neck, stop them, but the penalty should give them the first down.
Colorado is 21-0 when leading after 3 quarters. And you're right on.
Easy call. This was not an intentional play by Bryce. He was just trying to grab anything that he could. And I think once he actually felt that he had his hand around Hagan's face mask, he tried to let go, but the side judge was right there to make the play.
So a new set of downs. 1st and goal from the 4. Bieniemy is the tailback. Fullback offset to the left is Hemingway. Bieniemy. Hemingway clears the way, and he hurdles in, flies in for the touchdown. Eric Bieniemy has his 100 yards, the 10th 100-yard game of his career. 2nd touchdown of the day. Culbertson converts the extra point. And it's now 38-7.
Eric Bieniemy is a committed guy. He's committed about football. He's committed about school. He wants committed guys around him. And I think he raises the level of performance just by the kind of attitude that Eric Bieniemy has for this Colorado team.
In 1961, the fiberglass pole replaced the aluminum pole and broke the world record by 4 feet. In 68, the box construction's key resulted in a record number of gold medals. Since 84, the disc wheel has broken virtually every time trial record. Now Reebok has developed the energy return system of high-troll tubes to help propel the athlete forward. Who knows what records will fall next?
Attention, football widows. If your man enters the Michelob Challenge, he could win up to $50,000. Just imagine how that could change your life. To enter, just look for this Michelob display.
A Motorcraft spark plug has to fire 500 times a minute. Over its life, that's a spark 5 miles long. Shouldn't you install that peace of mind? Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries,
Oh, you'd be wanting Ian Alistair, Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Parcel for McKenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair McKenzie.
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Give Dave McCluen, the corner for Colorado, a lot of credit for the last touchdown they scored. He started it with the interception right there, really laid off the receiver, drove on the ball well. 3 turnovers have been converted to touchdowns by the Buffaloes.
And Bieniemy goes sailing in for his second score. He also threw for that touchdown in the first half to M.J. Nelson. 12:35 left in the game. This kick will bounce it to 5. Williams will take it 2 yards deep and not run it out. You spoke of turnovers, Pat.
You know, an opportunistic team will turn miscues into points, and that's exactly what Colorado has done. 3 turnovers have resulted in the 3 touchdowns.
I think it's interesting that there was a lot of skepticism about this secondary for Colorado before the day began, based largely on a performance against Colorado State. But people forgot that against Texas, a team that passed 50% of the time, highly acclaimed Tony Jones was shut down that night for only 1 reception. Jeff George. Hello, Kanavis McGee.
It's a hopeless feeling for a quarterback when that happens. There's just nowhere to go. You can't move. You don't have the kind of foot speed to duck inside this. McGee is a tremendous athlete and played very smartly all day. Just overpowered the tackle and made the play on George. And now Jeff Kinney comes in to replace George, his first play of the season.
It's his first down of his collegiate career. Jeff Kinney, again, his father by the same name, was the big running back on Nebraska's 2 national championship teams at the start of the 70s. From Wheaton, Illinois, Jeff Kinney. Give to another freshman, Wagner Lester. Play is whistled dead. Play of game.
I think Jeff will remember his first play. Comes in, it's 2nd and 23. Backed up, you're down 38-7.
You're in the closed end where they had to stop play 5 or 6 times in the first quarter. You got 3 yards of real estate behind you.
And George comes trotting back in now. I love to see that, a guy whose team obviously trails by 31 points, never quit and never given up. And I think that will help this team as the season goes on, because his teammates sense that the easiest thing for George to do was to sit down and quit, but he didn't.
Second and forever. Behind Williams. By the way, when that sack was made by Kanavis McGee, we mentioned that 3 of the front 7 defensively from Colorado hail from Houston. Well, that gives McGee a sack, Arthur Walker a sack, and Alfred Williams the other 2 sacks. All 4 sacks from the guys from Houston.
Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator of Colorado, should be congratulated. He's a happy man. His game plan was set up beautifully. He was going to put pressure on the outside with McGee and Williams. They've done just that, Jim, as you said. And John Makovic thought he could come up with a lot more big plays with a passing game.
Jeff George still has not eclipsed the 100-yard figure passing. Who would have ever figured that? He takes a timeout. He calls a timeout with 11:18 left in the contest. Contest dominated by Colorado.
From Monday to Friday, I'm behind a desk. Come Saturday, that's a different story.
If a trip to the mountains sounds good to you, forget about calling a travel agent, because we've got your ticket right here. The 4x4 of the year. America's #1 selling compact 4x4. Toyota.
Puts working all week into perspective.
Toyota!
I love it.
Renters, insure your boxer shorts from lightning, theft, fire, and more. Renters insurance covers things like VCRs and TVs, too. Renters insurance, another reason you're in good hands with Allstate.
If you want a little muscle in your car, forget your old routine. You gotta pump up. Pump up the Super Clean Premium. Performance power from Phillips 66.
Renters, insure your pajamas from fire, theft, explosion, and more. Renters insurance covers things like computers and stereos, too. Renters insurance, another reason you're in good hands with Allstate.
At the conclusion of today's CBS Sports College Football broadcast, we will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. Illinois backed up to its own 3-yard line. 11 minutes left in the game. 3rd and 27. Oh, a mix-up on the exchange, but Griffith holds on and gets to the 5, maybe the 6.
Well, Jim, I'm a little surprised that they haven't been really in that 2-minute offense that we've talked about. At least try to give themselves a chance to get something on the board. They've been very methodical about it, even though they trail 38-7.
Really, since that opening possession where they had to wait, hesitate because of the crowd noise, they've seemed to be rattled ever since that time, Pat, in the first quarter. Minkhausen. Bradford coming in again. Campbell backpedals to his 48. Campbell gets to the 50, and again we have a flag on a return. Jeff Campbell, number 84, is one of the top 25 prep hockey players in the country. Wanted to be a hockey player, ended up deciding on football, where he walked on here. Comes from Vail, Colorado. What a place to have as your hometown, huh?
Also a real superstitious guy. Has this wood block in his locker that he has to knock on every day before practice and after practice. Does it before the games and afterwards. He was the first to admit it. Hey, I'm superstitious.
So another 15-yard mark-off, apparently, against Bill McCartney's Buffaloes.
First down. Now, if you're Bill McCartney, you have to be happy with the progress of this team. He knew this team was going to be able to run the football well this season. The big question mark coming into the year is, could we throw it? Well, they've demonstrated they've done that today.
Darian Hagan is out of the game now. Charles Johnson is the new signal caller for the Buffaloes. Sophomore from Detroit, Michigan. And a fresh tailback as well, Matt Bell. Freshman from Denver. While we have a chance, it's time for an update with Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg.
Jim, as you just saw, 14-6, Notre Dame leading the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor. quarterback Michael Taylor has taken a hit and has been sidelined. We don't know for how long. Redshirt freshman Elvis Gerbach is now in the game and quarterbacking Michigan. Under 9 minutes to play in the third. It's Notre Dame 14-6. Let's go back to Boulder.
All right, Greg. And of course, Bo lost to his other two quarterbacks before the season started. They're on 2nd and 6. Bell. Matt Bell, a highly touted freshman from Denver, picks up the first down.
Well, another flag, though, down now, Jimmy. But Matt Bell's the guy, as you mentioned, they're excited about. He's got a lot of juice in his legs. He can really move it. He can shake it. Again, outrun you.
It's the 100th season of football at Colorado.
Offense, 10 yards, 15 second down.
Oh, another mark-off. This will be over 100 yards in penalties on the day now for the Buffaloes. It'll be a holding penalty. 8 penalties for 103 yards. Charles Johnson. Again, a sophomore back up to Hagan. He scored a touchdown in late action against Colorado State last week. On 2nd and 14, the give is to Michael Simmons, junior from Kirkwood, Missouri.
Simmons is a guy, number 42 right there, who 2 years ago had a terrific year as a fullback, but was suspended a year ago, sat out the year, came back, and thinks he's going to be a big contributor to this Colorado team this season.
3rd down and 11. 9 minutes left in the game. Matt Bell is the tailback. Play action fake to him. Johnson going long, and he's picked off by Primus. Marlon Primus.
Poor Marlon Primus. He's the guy who's been picked on all day. That time he got back to center field and made a very nice interception.
Oregon. How about Oregon today? 44-6 in Utah.
Wow.
Utah competed against Nebraska.
Scott Mitchell must have played pretty well.
Jeff Kinney is the quarterback for the Illini. And Kinney gives to Howard Griffith. They'll make that Wagner Lester.
You mentioned Jeff's dad. Remember the old, what was the 71 Oklahoma-Nebraska game? His father scored 4 touchdowns in that game.
35-31,
yep.
I believe.
Exactly right.
Another one of those games dubbed as the game of the century.
There's been a lot of those this century.
There's been a lot of those in the last year. Last 2 or 3 years.
But the father told the son, hey, you don't have enough speed to be a tailback. Be a quarterback. Beat the head cheerleader.
2nd down for Kinney. Here's his first collegiate pass, and he's on the mark with Luke Petratus. Chad Brown on the tackle. Jeff Kinney, first completion. He led Wheaton High School to the state 5A championship in '86, was a defensive back. Illinois' next 4 games, well, Utah State next week, Ohio State, Purdue, Michigan State. Illinois has Ohio State and Michigan at home this year.
Playing a lot of states there.
Pat, you mentioned it earlier about the adversity that Bill McCartney's had to overcome at Colorado. In the last year, not only has this team had to face the tragedy of the Sal and Essie situation, but a year ago, Sports Illustrated ran an article about this team and the problems the Buffaloes had with the law.
And Jim, he really thought it was an unfair portrayal of his program in that none of the people actually ever talked to him. They came in and did the story, did not discuss it with him. And also the 2 of his players who were accused of a crime and later acquitted.
The most serious crimes.
The most serious crimes. There was a rape charge, but they were later acquitted, and no one ever heard about that.
Dave Silva comes in on 3rd and short. 3rd and a yard. First down. Picked up by Howard Griffith. Tackled by Rob Hutchins. Let's go back down to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, behind me is Jeff George. You see one of his teammates coming over, Williams, to pat him on the head. His knee has just had a big ice pack placed on it. Trainer told me it's just a strain. He's not out of the game because of his knee. He's out of the game because of the score, 38-7. Now back to you.
Well, Jeff Kinney stays in as the man, the freshman. Mentioned he led Wheaton to a state championship, was a quarterback not until his senior year. Big kid, and he's on the mark again with another pass. Petratus with his second reception from Kinney, near the first down at the 33-yard line.
Luke Petratus, number 32, is kind of what college football is about. He's a walk-on, a non-scholarship player, has a role on this team, comes out and practices hard every day. But he fulfills a big role. Caught 3 passes in the winning drive last week against Southern Cal, or 2 weeks ago.
First down and 10. Ronnie Bradford has come in to the secondary now for Colorado. Kinney's looking his way, and Bradford has the interception. Ronnie Bradford, a converted quarterback, set out last year, was the scout team quarterback, had just come into the game, and he makes the INT.
We saw Bradford almost block a couple of punts earlier in the game, and what these Colorado corners are doing are really laying off, and some overthrown balls have led to 4 interceptions.
3 interceptions and a fumble recovery.
Dry is bold and wet. The taste of dry is less sweet. Michelob Dry, brewed longer, so taste after taste, there's just no aftertaste. Michelob Dry, bold taste with no aftertaste.
In this package is over 40 years of experience in overseas shipping and access to more air routes worldwide. Because Flying Tigers has changed its stripes and merged with Federal Express to form the largest all-cargo airline in the world.
Sharp, the only 12-to-1 zoom camcorder, that's who. Sharp, so fully automatic, just turn it on and shoot. The Sharp 12-to-1 zoom camcorder, that's who. While most camcorders stop here, only the Sharp 12-to-1 zoom keeps zooming all the way to here. Beautiful, even in low light. Sharp, the only 12-to-1 zoom. Nobody gets you closer to the ones you love than Sharp. From Sharp Minds come Sharp products.
Many of the world's fastest milers take to the world's most glamorous street, the Mercedes Mile on 5th Avenue, next Saturday on CBS Sports.
7 minutes left here in the fourth quarter, 38-7 Colorado over Illinois. And interesting this afternoon, Colorado's defense has been depleted by a couple of defensive backs who were suspended, Pontefract and Fingers, 2 of the better veteran defensive backs suspended about 2 months ago. Yet this afternoon, if you look at it, Colorado's come up with 3 interceptions. So McLuhan and Gibbs have been playing outstanding ball. Jeff George had hoped to exploit that thin and inexperienced defensive backfield for Colorado. He hasn't been able to do it. Now back to you, Jim and Pat.
All right, John, we saw the interception by Ronnie Bradford. And that's the 3rd pickoff of the day. Here's the give as Charles Johnson remains in. At quarterback, that goes to Matt Bell for just a short gain. Big 8 and Big 10. This is not only the one matchup here today. Ohio State swamped Oklahoma State. Indiana over Missouri. That's 2 straight for the Big 10 now in that battle of the conferences. And Minnesota won. So Big 10 won all of the other matchups between Big 10 Big 8 except for this one. And this one impressively put forth by the Buffaloes. Matt Bell again on the carry. Mike Pulaski for Illinois on the tackle.
I am a little surprised, Jim, actually a lot surprised by the width of the margin here by Colorado. I thought this was going to be a close game. I thought that Jeff George in this offense was talented enough, and because we felt that maybe there were some young players in the defensive backfield for Colorado, he could come up with some big plays in the passing game, but the defense was really outstanding. They put pressure on Jeff George, and that's what the defensive coordinators said they had to do coming into the game.
3rd and 11 out of the power I. Johnson going long again. M.J. Nelson batted away by Greg Boysaw. Nice job of deflecting that one. What a day M.J. Nelson had. He caught the touchdown in the first half from Eric Bieniemy. 3 receptions, 109 yards for M.J. Nelson, the nation's leading kick returner.
They can do a lot of different things. They can line up at tailback with him, at wingback, returns kicks, and plays wide receiver too.
Senior from Simi Valley, California. So with 5:39 remaining in the game.
So if they may go for a block.
Showing a 10-man front. Illinois does not get to Ruin. Tom Ruin. Good kick. Comes to Williams at the 15. Stormed under at the 19. A 4-yard return. Let's check in with another update from Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg.
Jim, in the East today, Massachusetts defeated Lehigh by a score of 42-23. Lehigh's 1,000th football game, and after 1,000 games, Lehigh's record 478 wins, 478 losses, and 44 ties. A decidedly average first 1,000 games. Jim and Pat.
That is an amazing statistic.
44 ties.
That's the kind of numbers you might expect from MIT instead of Massachusetts. Camino Bell is in the backfield, gets the carry on his first down. Jeff Kinney remains the quarterback for the Illini. This is an important non-conference game as far as the Orange Bowl picture for Colorado, because as Bill McCartney explained to us, with Oklahoma ineligible this year for the Orange Bowl, should Oklahoma still win the Big 8 regular season, the Orange Bowl committee then has the opportunity to select the representative from the Big 8. They'll most likely, of course, go with the team with the best overall record.
Or the most impressive team. They've obviously been impressive this far early in the season.
Paul Rose deflected that ball. Pass was still caught by Wagner Lester, and he goes out of bounds at the 24.
You mentioned Lester earlier, Jim, the freshman, the highly touted freshman from Illinois. They think ultimately he will be a guy that can carry the ball 20, 30 times a game and carry the load on the running attack.
Lester, we have not seen Steve Fagan, the freshman from Florida. Darren Boyer looked good today, the Canadian freshman. 3rd down for Kinney and Illinois. He'll drop back to the shotgun. Kinney's pass, Bell cannot hold on. 4th down.
And Kinney gets hurt as well. Comes up limping a little bit.
Shakes it off. And out comes Brian Minkhausen. Surprisingly, the punter was the quarterback at Illinois in 1986. Set, in fact, Illinois freshman passing record that year. 991 yards passing. And now he kicks away. Dave McLuhan is the return man, replacing Jeff Campbell. That went right over his head, did not touch him. Ball is down at the 20. 56-yard punt for Minkhausen.
Minkhausen may get most time played in the first 2 games. Had 11 punts against Southern Cal. That was his 7th punt today.
And Illinois only able to push it downfield for a score on its opening drive. And that took a lot of effort to get it in the end zone.
And, you know, if you're John Makovic, too, thinking about the season ahead, yes, it's a crushing blow to lose a game like this, but obviously their goal, as we've talked about, is the Rose Bowl in the Big Ten. He believes he has the kind of team that can compete and play Michigan tough, because Michigan has to come into Champaign.
Handoff to Simmons for 5 yards. A reminder that tonight on CBS, our lineup looks like this. Paradise, followed by the CBS movie special, Hot Paint. Hot Paint, that's all tonight on CBS. Charles Johnson, the quarterback now for the Buffaloes, might have had the most interesting summer job I've ever heard of for a college kid. He was a test driver for an automobile company out of Michigan, and he used to have to drive a car 500 miles a day.
I thought you could tell me he drove it into a wall or something.
He may have. Sets up 3rd and 1 on the carry by Matt Bell. You know, he was used to test driving cars, and now behind that great offensive line, it must feel like you're driving right behind a Rolls Royce.
Well, it's been a very, very impressive offensive performance by actually both these offensive teams, first and second team of Colorado. Lots of depth on this team in the running back position and in the offensive line. And in a long season in a tough Big 8 conference, they're going to need that depth.
3rd and a yard on the option. The pitch to Bell. Bell trying to, he does. He gets the first down. I thought he might get stopped short. Jim Schaefer makes the tackle. Long day for John Makovic, but you know, his team suffered a loss like this last year. Opened up the season, in fact, last year with a 44-7 drubbing at the hands of Washington State, and then still came back and contended for the Big Ten title.
Got his team to a bowl game, Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Here's a guy who got one of the most unfortunate sports deals I've ever seen when he was the coach at Kansas City. Talk about a situation mishandled. 1st and 10 for the Buffaloes. Charles Johnson looking to throw for Mark Henry. Boy, he is belted by Greg Boysaw. Intended for sophomore Mark Henry from Fleming, Colorado. Bieniemy got the scoring started with a 1-yard touchdown run. Griffith tied it for Illinois, 7-all in the first. Nelson on a pass from Bieniemy. Colorado led thereafter. Flannigan, 45-yard sprint down the right sideline. Culbertson connecting on his only field goal attempt. Then Flannigan again. Here's a guy with 99 yards rushing today. Bieniemy scores his 2nd touchdown, and it all totals 38-7. 2nd and 10. Matt Bell stuffed after a 3-yard gain. Mark Zitnick on the tackle. Michigan State, that was a 49-0 victory for the Spartans. We'll see them next week against Notre Dame in South Bend. And a field goal now makes it 17-6.
Michigan State may have the best inside linebacker in all of America, and Percy Snow, and Blake Ezor, the tailback, you talked about him earlier. Over 1,000 yards rushing a year ago.
Big day today for Ezor. 3rd and 7. Option play to Bell. Bell picks up 2. Brent Branch was in on that play, trying to throw a lead block. Brent Branch, the son of Cliff Branch.
A lot of question marks, Jim, coming into this season about Colorado. What we have now, you and I have seen them twice. I think they are for real. They are a legitimate top 10 team, perhaps a dark horse for national honors. It's a tough games ahead in their schedule, but I tell you, they're a very difficult team to defend, and they've got some horses on defense.
Ruin with another high kick. And it comes down at the 17. A fair catch. Stephen Williams, 44-yard punt. Tomorrow is week 2 in the National Football League, and we have a doubleheader coming your way. Eagles and Redskins, big game in the NFC East. Headlines our early schedule, and then later a central showdown, Minnesota at Chicago. All begins at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today. We saw Tampa Bay last week. You were mentioning that. They look very impressive. I think Vinny Testaverde is going to be the comeback guy of the year.
Oh, 22 of 28 a year ago. Last week.
No interceptions.
Yeah. Different player.
Here is Steve Fagan. Fagan on his first carry in college picks up 10. Someone asked Fagan that, hey, down in Florida, you came close to breaking a lot of Lorenzo White's records. Lorenzo was from the Fort Lauderdale area. Fagan said, I broke all of his records.
You know, I'm actually a little surprised. They've played both Fagan and Lester, two highly talented freshmen. You think they would maybe redshirt one or both of them, but now they've both played, and they will use up that year of eligibility.
It is surprising, especially with a minute and a half left in the game. But Coach Makovic said both of these players wanted to play this year, did not want to sit out a redshirt year. Fagan's second carry, no gain. No gain. Rob Hutchins on the tackle. Syracuse came from behind. Scored late. Owens on the touchdown. Michael Owens. Big day for Major Harris.
Washington looks like they're for real, too, don't they, Jim?
They're on a roll after beating Texas A&M. Today, Purdue, they're winning over. And Oregon, with perhaps the day's most surprising score at Iowa. Bill Musgrave, the fine quarterback for the Ducks. Jeff Kinney will roll out. And he is dropped. Jeff Kinney is dropped for a loss by Marcellus Elder, a freshman. 12-yard loss. We may have one more play is all. Well, the team is rallying around on the sideline. There's Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator. What a job done today by the Buffaloes under the guidance of Coach Bill McCartney. Have dedicated this season to their cancer-stricken quarterback and spiritual leader, Sal Inessi, and they've won again to increase their record now to 3-0 on the year. 8th in the country and moving up. Colorado, 38-7 over Illinois.
Take away the applause. Take away the glory. Take away the thrill of victory. And you still have the most important reason Toyota races. Your Toyota. Because what Toyota learns on the racetrack, they put to good use on the street.
The Allstate anti-lock brake discount is a great opportunity to save money. Provided your car has anti-lock brakes. The anti-lock brake discount. Don't pass it up.
Attention, football widows. If your man enters the Michelob Challenge, he could win up to $50,000. Just imagine how that could change your life. To enter, just look for this Michelob display.
Two division collisions. The Eagles and the Skins. The Vikings and the Bears. No love will be lost tomorrow.
It's a great team effort today by Colorado. Defense and offense. Big plays all around. But the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are from Illinois, Howard Griffith, 16 carries and 84 yards. And Pat, Sal Inessi for Colorado, the inspiration for this team that is now 3-0, looking forward to Big 8 play. Check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each school's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. We'll return from Folsom Field in Colorado with some closing thoughts in just a moment.
Build and shape our future. We invite you to learn the technology of tomorrow while you serve your country in the Navy of today.
Raise your hand. You got it. Raise your hand. You know it. You feel confident, secure.
You've got it. That Sure, secure, confident feeling. Because Sure's double-action formula fights wetness while it kills bacteria that cause odor. Be sure of both odor and wetness protection. Get Sure.
Confident, dry and secure. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're sure.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men. Union, yes.
Respect, pride. Our unions help make sure you take home more than just a paycheck. You take home your dignity.
America works best when we say union, yes. Sometimes you got it today. Emerson's got it right. Fine tune it, fine tune your life. Nobody's gotta tell you. Emerson does it right. Fine tune it, fine tune it, fine tune your life.
Fine tune your life with Emerson.
Understand that Michigan has just scored against Notre Dame. Went for a 2 and missed, so it's 17-12 Notre Dame in that contest, 1 against 2. Once again, the final score was Colorado 38, Illinois 7. And next Saturday, more exciting college football action on CBS Sports. The Michigan State Spartans travel to South Bend to take on the Irish of Notre Dame. The action starts at 2:30 Eastern. And Sunday, tomorrow at 12:30, the NFL Today starts a doubleheader day for us here.
We go the extra mile for you.